A different hairstyle or color can change a person's entire look. It can make a person look better or worse. Jean was about to enter her first day of college. She wanted a new look. Her current hairstyle was nice, but it was boring. She had it since she was a ninth grader. Her hair right now was straight, long, and blonde. She went into the hair salon and asked the hairstylist, "What kind of look are you going for?" The hairstylist asked. "I want to look like a model," Jean said. "Well, we can add layers to your hair. We can also make your hair more blonde," the hairstylist said. "That sounds good," Jean said. Jean sat in the chair while the hairstylist cut her hair. Jean couldn't see herself in the mirror because she didn't have her glasses on. She just trusted the hairstylist. An hour later, the hairstylist said, "Done." Jean put on her glasses and looked at herself. She looked totally different. She liked it, but felt strange. She could barely even recognize herself. Jean asked her friends and family what they thought. Most of them liked it. They said it made her look edgier, but very different. In fact, when she met up with her friends, they asked who she was. One of them even tried calling the police when Jean showed up in front of her house. When Jean was shopping with her friends at the mall, a model scout came up to her and asked if she would consider modeling. Jean said she would think about it and took his business card. The new hairstyle was really working out for her. Kelly's favorite holiday is Halloween. She loved pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice latte, dressing up, scary movies, and trick-or-treating. The sad thing, however, is that Kelly knows that she is too old for trick-or-treating. She is now 21 years old. She loved how she could get different kinds of candy for free. This Halloween, Kelly was going to babysit her 10-year-old cousin Albert and his friends. Kelly dressed up as a pirate. Her cousin and his friends dressed as ghosts. Albert and his friends made Halloween-themed cupcakes. The frosting was orange and the sprinkles on top were black. Afterwards, they carved pumpkins. Albert asked, "What should we do now, Kelly? Why don't you go trick-or-treating?" She suggested. "I'm too scared to talk to strangers," Albert said. "Don't worry, I will go with you," Kelly said. All of them went to the house to the right. They knocked on the door and said trick or treat. The couple smiled and gave the kids a chocolate bar. Kelly wished they gave her one. They went to the next house and the family there gave them gummy worms. The next house they went to was interesting. The couple there gave them money. Kelly definitely wanted some money. They went to a total of 10 houses and got more than 10 different types of candy. They all went back to Kelly's house. Kelly was sad looking at all their candy. Then, Albert and his friends gave Kelly a hug and said they loved hanging out with her. Ophelia was a night shift worker at a hospital. This meant that she worked late at night. Ophelia's work schedule was 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. Ophelia would sleep during the day, while most people were at work. For the first year of work, Ophelia had a hard time adjusting to the schedule. She had trouble sleeping during the afternoon. She was upset that she had to miss out on social events her friends hosted. It's still hard for Ophelia to adjust, but she is better at it. When she comes back from work, she goes to the gym for a few hours. Then, she practices her knitting skills. Afterwards, she would make herself a healthy meal. Night shift workers often eat unhealthier than day shift workers. After lunch, she would watch her favorite TV show. After that, she would sleep. The hospital informed the employees that they could send requests to change the time of their shift. Ophelia was excited about this and immediately sent in a request to change her shift. A couple of weeks later, the manager gave Ophelia a letter. The letter stated that her request was rejected. Ophelia was shocked. She went to her manager and asked him why. He said that many night shift workers who requested an earlier shift were elderly. Ophelia was only 25. The manager thought that the older employees needed an earlier shift more than Ophelia did. Ophelia was mad at first, but she thought about the older employees. Their bones were aching and they're tired. They do need it more than her. Janice is turning 21 today. Originally, she wanted to go to Las Vegas to celebrate. A lot of people go to Las Vegas for their 21st birthday because in the United States you can legally drink at 21. However, Janice decided not to go because she wanted to save money to buy a new car. Janice decided that she just wanted to go to a nice restaurant with her friends. Janice's birthday was on a Tuesday, and she had class and work on Tuesdays. She always walked to class with her friend Austin. When she and Austin met up, she thought he would wish her a happy birthday, but he didn't. Austin has known her for years, and he would always remember her birthday. Janice tried to drop hints. "I wonder what today is," she said. "Just a Tuesday, nothing special." Janice was upset. She ignored him during class. After class, Janice went to work. She expected a few birthday cards or a cake, but nothing. She was surprised, because employees would always get something for their birthdays. This made Janice upset. She didn't even want to go out to eat for her birthday anymore. When Janice got home, she questioned if anyone even cared about her. Her friend Liza called her. "Hey, can you open the door? We're here," Liza said. "I don't want to go out anymore," Janice said. "Why not?" "Can you just open the door? We're already here," Liza said. Janice opened the door. Surprise! Her friends yelled. They had a puppy in their hands. Kathy, Denise, Lauren, Andre, Harrison, and David are best friends. They all live in San Francisco. They live in different places and have different jobs, but at the end of their work day, they would meet up in the same cave. They also had different personalities, but somehow they make it work. Kathy is a struggling writer. She is working on a fantasy novel and trying to get it published. Denise is a medical student at the University of California, San Francisco. Lauren is a TV screenwriter. Andre is also a medical student at the University of California, San Francisco. Harrison is an investment banker. David is a graphic designer. How did they all meet? Kathy and Denise were friends in college and they moved to San Francisco together. They bumped into Lauren at a wine tasting event. The three of them became friends. Denise met Andre at medical school and Denise invited Andre to hang out with Kathy and Lauren at the museum. Lauren's cousin is Harrison. Harrison wanted a website for the company he worked at and hired David to design it. Lauren invited Harrison and David to come to the museum, too. When the six of them met up, they instantly became friends. Sometimes their different personalities caused fights. Kathy was shy and traditional. Denise was outspoken. Lauren was kind but also naive. Andre was funny. Harrison was smart but also greedy. David was bossy but also caring. Even though they were different, though, they all cared about each other. Eddie and Cynthia both went to the same high school. They had liked each other since 9th grade. Eddie and Cynthia met in math class. Cynthia was really good at math. She always scored the highest out of everyone. Eddie was having trouble with math. He kept getting Fs. If he didn't bring his grade up to a C, he would have to repeat the class. The teacher asked Cynthia to help Eddie out for extra credit, and she said yes. Every day after school for 2 hours, Cynthia would help him. Eddie fell in love with her. He ended up with a B in the class. Eddie took Cynthia out to dinner to thank her. At dinner, they both fell for each other. They started dating. Everything was good. They never had fights and even talked about getting married one day. When senior year came around, though, they had to apply to college. They didn't want to stop each other from going places, but they both wanted to stay together. Cynthia got into Harvard and wanted to major in math. Eddie did not get into Harvard. He got accepted to a school near Harvard, but thought it would be better for him to stay closer to home. Cynthia ended up going to Harvard and Eddie ended up going to Florida State University. They tried to have a long-distance relationship, but it was hard. They broke up after their first year of college. After they graduated, however, they both worked in Florida. They got back together. Ruby always looked up to her cousin Wanda. Ruby was an only child in her family, so she saw Wanda as an older sister. Wanda was beautiful, smart, and talented. She had straight A's, played the piano, and had so many friends. Wanda also had a great sense of style. It was classy yet cute. Ruby was still in high school, but she knew she wanted to go to the same university as Wanda did. Wanda knew that Ruby looked up to her and she appreciated that. For Christmas, Wanda got Ruby a sweater with her university's logo on it. Ruby was so happy when she got the sweater. She put it on immediately and wore it almost every day. One day in class, Ruby raised her hand to answer the teacher's question and the teacher accidentally called her Wanda. "I'm sorry, you just look a lot like her," the teacher said. "Don't apologize, I'm flattered," Ruby said. Ruby was even in the same clubs in high school as Wanda was. Sometimes people made fun of Wanda for not having her own personality. However, the truth was Ruby was different from Wanda. Ruby was more goofy and girly. When college admission decisions came out, Ruby was so anxious to check the website to see if she got in. She closed her eyes and slowly opened them. She found out she got accepted. She called Wanda to thank her for reading her application. The next day Wanda took Ruby to look at the school. Nicole was always insecure about herself. She didn't like how she looked. She thought she was too tall and skinny. People would always ask her how tall she is. She tried to gain weight, but she never could. Most people would love to be in Nicole's situation though. Nicole didn't like how she was so shy. She wished she could easily talk to people and make new friends. Nicole didn't like her voice. She thought it was too low. Nicole's confidence was so low that her friends started to get annoyed with her. They kept telling her that she was fine, but Nicole would deny it. Nicole's mom encouraged her to join a sports team at school. Nicole did not want to, because she didn't want to get rejected. After days of convincing, Nicole finally gave in to her mother's request. Nicole decided to try out for the basketball team. She played when she was younger, but has not played in 5 years. It helped that Nicole was tall. When Nicole went to tryouts, she looked at all the people she was competing against. She started to compare herself to the other girls. They were all shorter than her, but they were more confident. Nicole tried to put them out of her mind. The coach asked the girls to shoot free throws, run short distance, and then finally, asked them to play a game. Nicole was doing well, and she was surprised. She didn't realize that she still had basketball skills. Nicole made the team and felt more confident about herself. She knew she was good at something. Edward really liked Natalie. The Sadie Hawkins dance, where girls ask guys out, was coming up. In other dances, guys usually ask girls out. Natalie liked Edward, too, but he did not know. Natalie was thinking about asking Edward to the dance, but she was shy. Her friends eventually convinced Natalie to ask him. During the lunch break, Natalie and her friends went up to Edward at his usual lunch table. "Hi Edward, this song is for you," Natalie said. He looked shocked. Natalie took out her guitar. Her friends took out their instruments, too. Natalie played an original song. The song was about how they met on the first day of 9th grade. At the end of the song, Natalie asked, "Will you go to Sadie with me?" There was a long pause. Everyone around Edward was waiting for his response. Edward said yes, but he didn't look too happy. After school, Natalie asked Edward why he looked upset when she asked him out. "I really like you, but I'm not a dancer," Edward said. Natalie laughed. "Who cares? No one is really good at dancing. The important thing is that you have fun," Natalie said. Edward nodded and decided to go out with her. At the dance, Edward felt awkward at first. Then, Natalie started dancing and it was bad. Edward laughed and started dancing, too. Even though they were both awkward, they had fun. Mildred was very superstitious. She believed that black cats and walking under ladders were unlucky. Her friends and family would make fun of her for being so superstitious. Her brother tried to explain to her that superstitions are not real. She never believed him though. There have even been times where she went out of her way because of superstitions. One time, Mildred was very scared to take a math test. There is a superstition that says that carrying a rabbit foot brings good luck. Although Mildred could not get a real rabbit's foot, she brought a keychain of a rabbit foot. Another time, Mildred's friends invited her to get pizza at a new restaurant. Mildred was about to go inside the restaurant when she saw the restaurant's phone number included 666. 666 inches is considered to be unlucky, so she left. Another time, it was raining pretty hard. When Mildred went into the mall, she noticed that a woman still had her umbrella opened. An open umbrella indoors is supposed to be bad luck. She ran up to the woman and asked if she could close her umbrella. The woman looked at her with a disturbed face. "Don't tell me what to do," she said. The woman continued walking around the mall with her umbrella open just to annoy Mildred, who wanted to leave the mall immediately to avoid any bad luck. Her mom convinced her to stay. "Mildred, nothing bad is going to happen," she said. Mildred stayed in the mall for 4 hours. Her mom was right. Nothing bad happened. Irene has a secret. Her mom is the principal at her high school. She doesn't want anyone to know because her classmates would think that she gets special treatment. Not even her friends know about the secret. When her friends ask to go to her house, she just says that her parents don't allow guests. Irene's mom also never told anyone that her daughter goes to the high school she works at. Bring Your Mom to Campus Day was coming up and Irene usually told her friends in the past years that her mom was out of town. "What does your mom even do?" Her friend asked. "She is a cancer researcher, so she travels a lot." Funny enough, Irene's mom was always at Bring Your Mom to Campus Day. The vice principal once asked her, "Do you have a daughter?" Irene's mom said, "Yes, she is in college now." Irene was very close to getting an A in her calculus class. There was only one exam left. Irene would have to get 100% on the exam to push her grade to an A. The teacher offered the students extra credit if they brought their mom to Bring Your Mom to Campus Day. Irene decided that this year was going to be the year. She told her secret to everyone. Irene told her mom that she wanted to tell everyone about their relationship. Irene's mom agreed. On Bring Your Mom to Campus Day, Irene brought her mom to her calculus class. "Hi, our principal. What brings you here?" asked the calculus teacher. "I'm actually Irene's mom," she said. "Stuart and Brenda are having a baby together. Brenda is 7 months pregnant. Stuart and Brenda still don't know if the baby is a boy or a girl. The doctor had asked them if they wanted to know, and they said no. They do not want to know, because they want to be surprised. They think it will make the day of the birth more special. Their friends and family do not approve. Stuart's mom wants to know the sex of the baby because she wants to know what color bib to buy. If it's a boy, then she will buy a blue bib. If it's a boy, then she will buy a pink bib." Stuart's mom has been nagging him to ask the doctor about the baby's sex. Stuart decides to listen to his mom's suggestion. Brenda is furious. She tells Stuart not to listen to his mom. Stuart is conflicted. He loves his wife, but he also loves his mom. Stuart decides to secretly go to the hospital to ask the doctor for the information. The doctor tells Stuart that the baby is a boy. Stuart tells his mom the news. She is happy. She goes to the store to buy a lot of blue clothes. Stuart tells his mom that she can't tell Brenda. Stuart's mom agrees. The next day, Brenda has a baby shower. Stuart's mom is also invited. When it is time for Brenda to open the presents, Stuart's mom hands hers. Brenda slowly opens it, and it is a blue backpack. At that moment, Brenda knows she is having a boy. Joseph and his wife Christina currently live in San Francisco. Christina is pregnant. She is a makeup artist at the mall. She does not make much money, but the job makes her happy. Joseph is an investment banker. He makes a good amount of money, but does not like his job. He feels like he does the same thing every day and like he is not making a difference. He also does not like his co-workers. He feels like his co-workers only care about money. Back when Joseph was in school, he dreamed of being a college professor. He liked teaching because he loved the feeling when his students understood something. He also wanted to be around people who loved to learn. He believed that knowledge is power. Joseph wanted to quit his job at the bank. Christina did not want him to though. How are we going to afford to take care of the baby? She asked. Maybe we can give the baby to my brother and his wife for a couple of years, Joseph suggested. That is ridiculous. If we do that, then the baby is pretty much theirs, she said. Only for 2 years, Joseph said. You need to think of the baby, Christina said. Why don't you get a higher paying job then? Joseph asked. It's not easy. You know, I didn't finish high school, Christina said. This was a sensitive topic for Christina. Joseph knew that and stopped talking. Joseph stopped talking. He decided to stick with his job at the bank. Julia always felt average. She did not have any special talents, but she also was not bad at anything in particular. She always got BS in class. She was neither fat nor skinny. She could run a mile, but not much more. Most people felt neutral about her. She wore nice clothes, but nothing unique. She wanted to be better than average at something, but whenever she tried, she fell short. When she took an advanced math class, she found herself struggling. She joined the basketball team, but she was not very good. As Julia was walking to school, she suddenly felt something in her head. It didn't hurt, so it was not a headache. All of a sudden, she saw a cat stuck in a tree in her mind. It was almost like a vision. That was weird, she thought. She continued walking to school. Then, she saw a cat like the one in her vision. It climbed up the tall tree and could not come back down. It was stuck. Julia realized that she could see the future. Julia would get her visions randomly. She wished she could control it, but she could not. Sometimes she would get 5 a day, and other times she would get them every 2 weeks. Julia loved her visions though. She felt that it was a special power that gave her advantages. One time she had a vision that her friend was going to die in a car accident, so Julia made her friend not drive that day. Julia did not tell anyone about her visions. She felt like people would not believe her. Timothy loved to play games ever since he was young. He was good at almost every single game. He was extremely competitive and hated to lose. He decided to go to the arcade to put his skills to the test. He thought this would be a fun way to use his skills and be rewarded. He invited all his friends to come since he did not want to go alone. At the arcade there were all types of games. The games ranged from beginner to expert level. Some of the games required no skills and just pure luck. Timothy wanted to try the games that were not based on luck. He decided to warm up with claw machines. He thought these required coordination and precision. However, he soon realized these machines relied a little bit on luck to pick up the prize. He quickly moved on to shooting target games. He also played basketball games. Basketball was more suited towards his skills. He was able to win prizes in both. He also played games with his friends. It was fun competing against them, even when he lost. Sometimes he felt discouraged when he lost, but he kept trying. At the end of the day, he had many prizes to take home. He realized he had spent a lot of money playing these games. Timothy told his friends he had a fun time and hopes to come again, but not too often. He traded prizes with his friends and they all took a photo to remember this day. It was hard to eat healthy at school. It was even harder when Jessica entered college. Everywhere she went it seemed as if she was surrounded by unhealthy food. From the dining hall pizza to the coffee shops at every corner, it was hard for her to eat healthy every day. She also had to balance many activities and classes. She felt she had no time to cook or find healthy food. She often stopped at fast food places and got quick snacks. The unhealthy food often left her feeling tired. She did not have the energy at the end of the day and often felt sleepy. She decided she needed to alter her eating habits. She wanted to stop eating so unhealthy, but she did not know how. She decided to start by cutting out coffee. At first it was hard since she drank coffee almost every day. By the end of the week, she felt better. She was also saving a lot of money by not having to buy a drink every day, which quickly added up. The next step she took was to incorporate more healthy food into her diet. Instead of eating burgers and sandwiches so often, she decided to eat salads every other day. She found that salads were just as quick and cheap as burgers. This made her feel more refreshed and energized. She found herself less sleepy and more focused in class. The salad even tasted better than the burger. Jessica felt so good with her diet change. She planned on cooking once a week every week. She felt ambitious and loved the change she was making. Sarah found herself alone at home most of the time. Her parents were always at work and she had no siblings. Although Sarah had many friends, she wanted to get a pet. She was tired of being bored at home. However, Sarah did not know what pet she wanted. She kept changing her mind and fell in love with all types of animals. She decided to go to the pet store and let her heart decide. When she got there, she went to her local pet store. It was only a 5-minute walk from her house. She walked with her parents, who agreed to let her pick out a pet. Sarah vowed to take responsibility and be super careful with her new pet. The pet store worker greeted them and showed them around. There were all types of pets including reptiles and furry mammals. Sarah loved the dogs and cats. She thought they were cute and playful. She decided to also look at some fishes. She enjoyed the colors and their beautiful nature, but she wanted something more interactive. When she came across the bunnies, she knew that they were the pet for her. She knew a bunny was easier to take care of than a dog, but still playful. She picked up a bunny and fell in love with him. He was brown and white. She decided to name him Chester. Her new furry friend also liked her. Her parents approved and were also fond of her new pet. Brenda was moving into her apartment today. She needed to bring in a lot of things since the apartment was empty. There was no way she could fly with such large items. She needed to go shopping for a couch and a desk. Brenda decided this would be a perfect opportunity to road trip with her family. They could help her move into her new apartment. Her new apartment was located 3 hours from her current house. Brenda was excited about moving and starting her new year. She was moving to an apartment near her school. She would be living with 3 new people she had never met. She was a little nervous to meet them. She was scared she might not like them or they might not like her. She was excited also. She was excited for what the new year would bring. The new year could be filled with a lot of new memories and exciting events. Brenda made a list of things she needed to buy just in case she forgot anything. She separated her list by categories. She had a lot of stuff from home that she could bring to save money. She took her chair and her laptop from home. She also brought a lot of clothes and cooking supplies. Her parents agreed to help her shop for furniture. Once they got there, they were going to help her pick her bed frame and her mattress. She also needed to get a new couch for the living room. Although stressful, Brenda was ready to tackle it all. Ricky was good at everything. He had always gotten A's in all his classes. He excelled in all subjects and never had any trouble with the material. This year, he was taking calculus. This was a subject he had never taken before. He was struggling a lot and did not understand the material. His teacher handed his first test back. Ricky was shocked at his score. He had failed the test. It was his first time to fail anything. Ricky did not know what to do. He did not want to ask for help, because he did not know how. This was his first time struggling, and he had no idea how to approach his problem. He started by talking to the teacher. He asked the teacher if there was a mistake or if there was any way he could retake the test. The teacher explained to him that it was reasonable that he did not do well on the first test. She gave a list of books and websites that may help him and also referred him to some tutors. Another suggestion she made was to reach out to friends and form a study group. He liked the idea of a study group because he felt more comfortable asking his friends for help. He asked his friends if they would like to form a study group. They loved the idea. They also were relieved since they were also struggling with calculus. They decided to meet twice a week at their school's library. They did homework together and went through each problem step by step. Before the next test, they studied extra long. They did several practice problems and helped each other along the process. Perhaps Ricky would not get everything correct on the next test, but he felt more confident. Catherine did not know what to do this summer. All her friends either had a job or were going traveling. Catherine was nervous because she did not hear back from any of the organizations she applied for. She applied to a lot of different internships and jobs. The wait was long and agonizing for her. Finally, she received an email. The email congratulated her on getting the internship, which was a teaching position in Japan. She was going to be teaching lessons on leadership in Japan to young high school students. Catherine was so excited to receive this internship. This was her top choice. She was nervous she would not get it because there were many applicants. It was extremely competitive. She was excited to travel and also meet many high school students. Catherine was passionate about education and leadership. This internship was perfect for her. She was nervous to travel abroad since this was her first time. She did not know what to expect in a foreign country. She also did not speak Japanese, which may be challenging for her. The challenges did not scare her. She was ready for the internship. She planned her trip early and began to make lists of things she needed to bring and what she needed to do. She also met with past interns to ask them about their experiences. She wanted to be as prepared for the trip as possible. Catherine wanted to do the best job she could and make a big impact on the students. Danielle decided to make sushi with her brother Jonathan. They both loved sushi and cooking. They thought this would be the perfect way to bond with each other and have fun. Sushi was something they never made. They needed to buy all the supplies to make the perfect sushi. They read recipes and watched videos on how to make sushi. Even if it was not perfect, Danielle was sure it would taste good. Jonathan was in charge of buying the supplies. He stopped by his local Japanese supermarket. This was one of his favorite markets because of its cheap prices and quality products. He started by looking for the seaweed and rice. He quickly found those in the same aisle. He then began to pick the seafood they would use. He decided on salmon, tuna, and eel. Danielle's favorite was salmon. He also got some cucumbers, carrots, and avocados to add extra flavor. Jonathan brought back his supplies home. They were ready to make the sushi. They set everything up in the kitchen. They were ready to roll. They divided the tasks. One person was in charge of preparing the sushi. The other person was in charge of rolling the sushi and cutting nicely into pieces. They needed to make enough for themselves and their parents. They even made extras. After all their hard work, they ate their delicious sushi and watched a movie together. The sushi was delicious and tasted really fresh. Their parents approved of their homemade sushi. Every day Tiffany jogged 5 miles around her house. She loved running around her neighborhood. It made her feel refreshed for the rest of the day. She felt more healthy and productive after her runs. She did not always run the same route. She liked to change her route to make running more fun. Sometimes she ran to grocery stores, and sometimes she ran to her friend's house. It was a new journey each time. In order to run, she had to have the right gear. She always wore quality athletic clothes. She had to wear good running shoes that were durable. She kept her hair in a high ponytail, so her hair would not interfere with her face. She kept a water bottle with her at all times to continue to stay hydrated. Sometimes she ran at the gym, but she preferred the fresh air. There was something about seeing the trees and cars passing by that made her happy. She always listened to music when she ran. The music kept her motivated and distracted her from the feeling of being tired. Today she decided to run to a movie theater. She was meeting a friend there later. She had her water, music, and a smile ready. She started running early so that she would be there on time. Rebecca was going on her daily jog when she saw a lonely puppy on the sidewalk. The puppy was alone. She did not see its owner anywhere in sight. The puppy had a collar. She checked the collar for an address or identification, but there was none. The puppy followed her and began to play with her. The puppy seemed to really like Rebecca. Rebecca loved dogs and did not mind at all. She wanted to help this puppy find its owner. She did not want to just abandon him. She decided to take a picture of the dog and post flyers around her town. She hoped that the puppy was local to the area. For the time being, she took the puppy home. She bought dog food and prepared a nice area for the puppy to sleep. The puppy seemed confused in its new environment. It was a little shy, but still showed a liking to Rebecca. The next day, Rebecca posted flyers all over town. She added her phone number in case anyone wanted to contact her about the dog. She hoped that she could find its owner. She decided to take the dog for a walk. She started to form a connection with the dog, but she knew she could not keep him. A few hours later, a woman contacted her about the dog. She was so relieved Rebecca had found him. Rebecca returned the puppy to the woman and could see how happy both of them were. Rebecca felt great and decided she would get a puppy in the future. The vase in the middle of the house was broken. Someone had knocked down the family's vase. The mom was furious. She had treasured that vase and was upset that it was now broken. She did not know who broke it since she was not home that day. The only 2 people who were home were her daughter Violet and son Harry. She asked them who broke the vase. Both of them were quiet. They refused to answer, in fear of getting in trouble. She threatened to punish both of them if they did not give her an answer. They began to blame each other. They began to yell and tell their stories at the same time. She told each to explain their sides. Violet explained that they were playing tag and Harry tagged her while pushing her at the same time, causing her to knock the vase over. Harry explained that Violet tried to dodge his tag and hit the vase. There was no way for the mom to tell who was actually right. The mom decided it was an innocent mistake. She did not punish either of them. She just told them not to play tag in the house anymore. Harry and Violet had to be more careful next time. They apologized to their mom. They both felt terrible for upsetting her. They decided to be super good and started cleaning up the house. I have been in the same math class as Eric for a few months now. He always helps me on my homework. He is extremely nice and funny. One day, I decided to ask Eric if he wanted to go out with me to the mall. I was so happy when he said yes. I was excited, this would be my first date. I was also nervous since I had never been on a date. I did not know what to do or how to act. I hoped I would figure it out. I planned our date to the minute. I wanted to be prepared and know exactly what to do. We were going to the mall on Saturday at noon. He was going to pick me up and drive to the mall, where we would get food, and then shop at our favorite stores. However, when the day came, everything went wrong. First of all, I could not find my favorite outfit that I had planned on wearing. I settled for a clean plain t-shirt and some jeans. He was also late because his car got a flat tire on the way to my house. I was scared about what else could go wrong. He apologized about being late, and I forgave him. We talked in the car and played music as we drove. We had a good conversation about school, traveling, and family. He was easy to talk to. I was so relieved. The date ended up being really fun. We had a good time eating and shopping at the mall. Sandra was moving into her new dorm. It was her first day of college. She wanted to make the dorm her own personal space. She wanted to design it with meaningful decorations that reminded her of home and the opportunities at school. She wanted to make herself feel comfortable in a foreign place. The dorm was an empty space where she could make her own. She shopped for decorations at her local stores and online websites. She found that many of the decorations were generic, so she decided to design her own decorations. She was excited to begin her do-it-yourself project. She looked up a bunch of tutorials and videos on arts and crafts. There were many easy projects. She could make the decoration on her own instead of having to buy it at the store, which would save her money and also allow her to customize her decorations. She was excited to start these projects. She began by printing a bunch of pictures of her family and friends. She wanted to remember the important people and the memories they made. She decided to make a collage with the photos. She laid the photos out in the shape of a B to represent her name. She also decided to make paper lantern string lights. The lights were going to hang across her bed. She already felt excited to see how the decorations would look in her room. It had been raining for the past few days in Southern California. Every day, people would hold umbrellas and walk around with jackets. Today it was sunny. People were wearing dresses and flip-flops. It was a day for people to finally go out and get some sunshine. The sky was beautiful. The clouds were fluffy and scattered all across the sky. The sun was between the clouds. It was not too hot. The beach was one place many people decided to go to on a sunny day. There were many beaches in Southern California. At the beach, the wind felt great. The water has the perfect temperature. It was perfect weather to stay at the beach. There were a lot of people there. There were kids, parents, students, and the elderly. Everyone was enjoying the beach. There were shops at the beach, too. Many food shops and carnival games were set up on the pier. With so many activities to do, one would never find oneself bored. There were long lines for the funnel cakes and candy shops. Many people took this opportunity to go surfing or to fly a kite. Some even built sand castles or worked on their tan. Everyone had a smile on his or her face. When the sun set, the sky turned a beautiful pink and orange. It was a photo-worthy moment. Michelle was tired of how her hair looked. She always kept it in a high ponytail. She had long brown hair, which had been her hairstyle for her whole life. She did not hate it, but she wanted to make a change. She thought this was the perfect time to change her hair. She thought about what she could do. She could change the color of her hair. Michelle was open to dyeing it black or a lighter brown. She did not want anything too colorful and attention-catching. She settled on dyeing it a lighter brown. Michelle also wanted to get highlights instead of dyeing all her hair. She thought that would make it look more interesting. Another option Michelle had was to cut her hair. Since she always had long hair, she thought about cutting her hair short. She decided she would cut her hair and donate her hair. Her hair was long enough to donate. Her hair had also never been dyed, so she had extremely healthy hair. Michelle was excited for her new look. She looked up pictures for reference to show the hair stylist. Michelle went to the hair salon the next day. She told the hair stylist exactly what she wanted. The stylist was friendly and knew exactly what to do. When she finished, she handed Michelle a mirror. Michelle looked in the reflection and saw a completely new look. She was a bit shocked since she was not used to this look. However, she was quite happy with her new look. Christmas time was coming around. This meant it was time to shop for gifts for loved ones and prepare to spend time with them. Tammy wanted to get gifts for her parents and friends to show how thankful she was for their love and support. She wanted each gift to be special. She decided to combine store-bought merchandise with homemade items. She was going to customize each gift to make each one special. She decided to give her mom a handmade apron. Her mom loved to cook and bake in the house. She embroidered the words, "World's Best Mom." Her dad loved to garden, so she decided to get him a plant and some gardening tools. Her friends were a little harder to get gifts for since they each had different interests. She decided to give each of them jars with their favorite items. She customized each jar to match their personalities. She decorated the outside of the jar with drawings, ribbons, and buttons. This part was most fun for her. Inside the jar were candy, chocolate, stickers, keychains, and a photo they had taken together. She was excited to give her gifts to her friends. She loved seeing the smiles on their faces. She thought this way her gift would be more special. She also decided this year she would donate toys to children who were less fortunate. She thought this was a great way to celebrate Christmas. Sarah wanted to get a job to save up money for her future. She did not want to keep asking her parents for money. She thought getting a job would be a good way to build her experience. Since she never had a job before, she decided to start with a simple part-time job. There were a lot of options out there. She could be a cashier, a tutor, a waitress, or an usher. She decided that a cashier job would be most suitable for her. This was a job that seemed simple enough that she could learn. It would also let her interact with people, which is her favorite thing to do. Sarah did not have a car, so she needed to find a job that was close to her home and school. She was still going to school, so she needed to find a job that was flexible. She walked around the restaurants and stores in her neighborhood. Some were hiring, others had all their positions filled up. She applied to 10 different places. Her top choice was her favorite frozen yogurt shop. They usually asked for a resume, a cover letter, and an application. She was excited to continue with her job search. 2 weeks later, 5 places contacted her for an interview. They were a movie theater, a yogurt shop, a candy shop, a video game store, and a coffee shop. She did not mind any of the jobs. They all seemed suitable for her schedule. Roberto could eat a lot because he had a big appetite. He ate 5 meals a day. The average person eats 3 meals a day. Roberto exercised a lot though. He was a big, muscular guy. He swam and played football, too. He always ordered the most food when he ate out with his friends and family. At Fatty Hattie, there was a burger eating challenge. If you could finish the entire extreme burger in 10 minutes, you would win a $300 gift card. Hey Roberto, why don't you try the challenge? His friend asked. Roberto had certainly thought about it before. The truth was, it just seemed too much, even for him. The extreme burger included 10 beef patties, chicken strips, hot dogs, chicken wings, mozzarella sticks, French fries, and much more. Roberto could probably eat half of that, but not the whole thing. Come on, Roberto. Do it. Are you scared? His friend teased. Whenever someone told Roberto he could not do something, he had to prove them wrong. Roberto called over the waiter and asked for the extreme burger. Everyone at the restaurant surrounded Roberto. He felt nervous. In 3, 2, 1, go. The waiter said. Roberto started eating. The first 10 bites were good, but then he started to get sick. The crowd kept cheering and that motivated Roberto. 9 minutes had passed and Roberto was down to his last bite. He took the last piece and swallowed it. The crowd cheered. Roberto felt proud. He not only proved his friend wrong, but got a gift card for one of his favorite restaurants. Donald had a dog named Max. Max was 10 years old, which was quite old in dog years. Donald bought the dog to protect him and his family from danger. When Max saw suspicious activity, he barked out loud. There was one time when a robber tried to get into Donald's house. Thankfully, Max barked and Donald was able to stop the robber in time. Sometimes though, Max would bark when he saw another dog. Donald would go outside thinking something bad was happening, but it was really just another dog. Donald went on a lot of hikes and walks with Max. Donald normally did not like to exercise, but he did not mind if it was with Max. Donald would also bring Max to the dog beach, where he could play with other dogs. Max was considered part of the family. He was even in the family holiday postcard picture. Donald knew, however, that Max was going to die pretty soon. He tried not to think about it. Donald came back home from school and filled up Max's water bowl as usual, except this time, Max did not run to the water bowl like he usually did. Donald looked around the house for Max and found him lying down on the floor dead. Donald quickly ran to Max and tried to feel for his pulse. Max was officially gone. Donald and his family buried Max in their backyard. Donald cried for a long time, and remembered all his good memories with Max. Rose is lactose intolerant, which means that she is allergic to dairy products. Dairy products include milk, ice cream, cheese, and yogurt. Rose hates that she cannot eat ice cream without getting a stomach ache. It is something she has to deal with, though. She is okay with not eating things like cheese and milk. When Rose eats dairy products, she will get a really bad stomach ache. They would be so bad to the point where she could not walk. One day in class, Rose's classmate was giving everyone noodles. Rose took a bite. It was pretty good. She had never tried anything like it before. A few minutes after she finished it, however, her stomach started hurting. Did the noodles have milk in it? Noodles did not usually have milk in it. Rose asked her classmate what was in it. He said there was a little bit of milk. Rose got mad at him. Hey, I didn't know you were lactose intolerant, he said. Rose could not get out of her chair. At the end of the class, Mr. Thompson asked Rose if she could move. I literally cannot move, she said. Mr. Thompson stayed in the class until 6 p.m., which was when her stomach stopped hurting. Rose thanked Mr. Thompson for staying with her. Rose went back home and promised that she would ask about the ingredients before eating anything. Pamela got accepted to Harvard University. Her family and friends were excited for her. Harvard was known for being hard to get into. Even if you got straight A's in high school, you could get rejected. You have to also be very involved in school, do volunteer work, and write well. Pamela immediately knew that she wanted to go to Harvard, but she was worried about the money. Harvard was a private school, so it was expensive. 2 weeks later, she got an email from Harvard telling her what she got for financial aid. Pamela did not get as much aid as she hoped for. There are two types of financial aid: grants and loans. Grants are good because it is money given to you from the school that you do not have to pay back. For loans, you have to pay it back eventually. Harvard offered Pamela a lot of loans but not much grants. Pamela told her parents that she would not go to Harvard. Her parents told her that she should still go. Harvard was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. After some thinking, Pamela agreed. She decided that she was going to apply for scholarships. She went to her school's college center and found several scholarships she was qualified for. She applied to a scholarship for history majors, one for violinists, one for Filipino Americans, and one for female students. In the end, she managed to get $3,000 from scholarships. This was a good start. She would get a job at Harvard while she took classes. Before a new year, people make resolutions. Resolutions are things you want to change about yourself or things you want to happen. Common New Year resolutions include losing weight, getting good grades, spending less, and traveling more. It is hard to achieve resolutions because we can fall back into our old habits easily and make excuses. In December, gyms are almost empty. People are sitting comfortably at home eating. Once it hits the new year, gyms are crowded with people hoping to lose weight. Sadly, people will start losing hope and get lazy. It is easy to eat unhealthy food and not exercise. Well, it takes a lot of willpower to stay healthy for a long period of time. Kathleen's resolution is to lose weight. She currently weighs 150 pounds at 5 minutes 4 seconds. She wants to lose 30 pounds by the end of the year. Kathleen bought a year-long gym membership. She decided to buy it for the entire year, instead of month by month, as a way to stop herself from canceling. It costs $200 for a whole year. The gym has everything she needs. There is even a spa in the gym. Kathleen went to the gym every day for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, however, Kathleen had to go back to school. She had less time to go to the gym. Even when she did have time, she did not go because she was tired from class. She still managed to go to the gym twice a week though. Vanessa had been eyeing a dress online for a long time. It was a long, white crochet dress, which cost $100. She was hoping the price would go down. She checked the website every day for 1 month, but the price never went down. She wanted the dress in the medium size. The website said there were only 5 more left. She did not want it to sell out. She finally bought the dress. A week later, it came to her house. Vanessa excitedly opened the package and the dress was perfect. It looked exactly the way it did on the website. Her cousin was throwing a party on a yacht that night. Vanessa wanted to wear the dress for that party. When Vanessa arrived, everyone complimented on how she looked. The dress was definitely worth it. Where did you get that dress? Her cousin asked. Calm, Vanessa said. Her cousin went on the website. There were only 2 more in the size medium and 1 more in the size small. The next day, Vanessa decided to wear the same dress at her friend's dinner party. Hey Vanessa. Nice dress. I just bought the same one today. It was such a good price, Jan said. You mean you don't think $100 is a good price? Vanessa said. Oh no, it was only $35. Jan said. Vanessa's jaw dropped. If only she waited 1 day. Harold and Dolly are getting a divorce. They have been married for 10 years. They both felt that they married each other too young. Harold felt like he had changed a lot since then. When he was 23, he was ambitious, competitive, and sometimes even harsh. He had plans to be a CEO. Now, he was more relaxed. He was okay with not having a high-paying job. Dolly wanted the 23-year-old version of Harold. She was ambitious too, and wanted to be a power couple. A power couple is a couple where both partners are successful. Dolly was not okay with Harold only being an accountant. Harold and Dolly hate each other now. They can barely talk to each other. They have 1 daughter together. Her name is Christina. Christina is sad that her parents are splitting apart. She does not know who she will be living with. Usually the mother gets full custody of the child. If Christina stays with her dad, she will be living in a smaller house, but she does not mind. She is closer to her dad. They get along better. If Christina stays with her mom, she could spend more money because Darlene is rich. Christina is not that close to her mom though. Her mom does not show love often. Harold and Darlene decided that Christina should still see both of them. Harold asked Darlene if she was considering another husband. Darlene said she eventually wanted to get married again. Harold wished her good luck. Most people shower once every day. Joyce thinks this is a waste of water. She showers every other day. Joyce does not mind if people know that she does not shower daily. She tells people that showering every day is a waste of water. There are so many countries that do not have clean water readily available. There is also a drought in California. Joyce believes that people should only shower if they really have to. For example, if someone just finished going to the gym, they should shower. Joyce's entire family only showers once every other day. One day, Joyce invited her classmates to her house to work on their project. The project was on water usage. Joyce revealed that she and her entire family do not shower daily. Her classmates looked at her in disgust and then pinched their noses. "You guys don't even smell anything. If I did not tell you, you would not be doing that," Joyce said. They all made excuses to leave her house. Joyce was disappointed in them. She thought they were being immature. She decided to do the project by herself. Joyce presented her project in front of the entire class. It was on showering daily and how scientists have proved that it was not necessary. The teacher was impressed and gave Joyce an A+. Her classmates ended up doing not so well. They also got in trouble for leaving Joyce to do the project by herself alone. Cynthia and her friends were walking in the mall like they always do. They did this twice a month after the last class on Friday. Cynthia's favorite shop was actually the bookstore. Some of her friends liked shopping for clothes, and some of her friends liked the food at the mall. Look. "Cynthia, your favorite singer is in Forever 21, said Martha. Cynthia turned around. When she was turning around, she knocked an ice cream cone out of a woman's hand, and it landed on the woman's shirt. The woman was upset. Cynthia apologized and started taking the ice cream off the woman's shirt. The woman was even more upset. "How dare you touch me?" she said. Cynthia apologized again. "You're going to have to pay for this shirt and the ice cream," the woman said. Cynthia's friends started laughing. They thought it was funny that she was making a big deal out of the situation. "Can't you just put the shirt in the washing machine? Why does she have to pay for your shirt?" asked Martha. "The stain is not going to come off," the woman said. "It's all right, Martha. I'll just pay for it," Cynthia said. Cynthia asked the woman how much the shirt was. "It was $147, she said. Cynthia reached into her wallet. "Cynthia, this woman is clearly lying to you," Martha said. Cynthia thought about it. Martha was probably right. This woman was taking advantage of Cynthia's kindness. Cynthia asked for proof and the woman could not give it to her. The woman walked away, embarrassed that she was caught lying. Cynthia was thankful for Martha. Peggy was watching TV one day. It was Monday afternoon, so there was nothing good on. It was mostly just local news, soap opera, or paid programming. Peggy decided to watch the paid programming channel. The product they were trying to sell was Magi pants. According to the sellers, Magi pants made your legs look smaller. They came in multiple colors. The TV showed satisfied customers talking about Magi pants. One of them even said that she gained confidence after wearing the pants. Peggy usually made fun of the people on paid programming. This time, however, she wanted to buy the product. Peggy never liked her legs. No matter how much she exercised or diet, her legs would still be big. Magi pants was also having a deal, too. Buy one pair, get the second one half off. If she called within 10 minutes, she could get a free pair of Magi shorts. Peggy called the number. She ordered one pair. A week later, the pants arrived in the mail. Peggy tore the package and tried them right away. She looked in the mirror, but did not see the difference. Frustrated, she called the company asking for a refund. "Miss, are you sure you don't see the difference?" "Yes, I am sure," Peggy said. The sales representative tried to offer her another pair of pants, but Peggy declined. That was the first and last time she ordered anything from paid programming. Melanie had liked Paul for a long time. One day, she just told him that she liked him. Paul said he liked her, too. He asked her if they could get dinner at his house. Paul said that he cooked well. When Melanie went to Paul's house, Paul was a perfect gentleman. He took her coat, he let her sit down first, he served her food, he made salmon with kale and broccoli. They shared stories about their childhood and what they wanted for the future. Melanie enjoyed the date. The next day Melanie texted Paul asking him to have lunch with her on campus at 1 p.m. Paul said he was going to be in class. However, Melanie saw Paul sitting with his friends near the patio. Why did he lie to her? In the evening, Paul texted Melanie asking her if she wanted to have dinner at his place again. Melanie said yes. When Melanie arrived at his house, she asked why he lied to her earlier. Paul sighed. The truth is, I don't want people to know we are dating, he said. Why not? Melanie asked. My friends don't have the best opinion of you, he said. What do they think about me? She asked. They just think you're kind of weird and too talkative, he said. So you are embarrassed to be seen with me? She asked. Don't say it like that, Paul said. The next day Melanie went up to Paul and his friends. Just so you know, Paul and I are dating, she said. His friends were shocked and could not believe it. Is this true, Paul? They asked. Paul owned up to the truth and admitted it. Liberty High School decided to enforce a dress code. Up until now everyone could wear whatever they want. Students started taking advantage of this. Boys were sagging their pants and wearing shirts with bad words on them. Girls were showing their belly button and wearing shorts that were too short. The principal made the announcement about the dress code in the auditorium. All the students were upset. This is ridiculous. Someone yelled, quiet down or else, you will get detention, Principal Baker said. Principal Baker showed the students the uniform. The girls had to wear a white collared shirt with a red skirt. The boys had to wear a white polo shirt with red slacks. The boys and girls had to wear the same white shoes, too. The students were disgusted. If you have long hair, you need to wear your hair up, the principal said. The girls were furious. Piercings and tattoos are not allowed either, Principal Baker added. What if we already have a tattoo? I can't remove it. A student shouted. That is fine. Just do your best to hide it, Principal Baker said. Principal Baker thought everyone would be in uniform the next day. Instead, everyone was protesting. Students were carrying signs that said no uniforms and wearing inappropriate clothes. Principal Baker called everyone into the auditorium. I am demanding everyone to call their parents to bring them their uniform. If you do not do this, you will be suspended, Principal Baker said. The students knew how bad a suspension looked on their records. They did what Principal Baker demanded, and wore their uniform every day since. Beverly has been in boarding school since she was 10 years old. Her parents put her in boarding school to make her a more independent person. Beverly was against it at first. She wanted to stay with her parents like most kids of her age. She started getting used to boarding school when she was about 15 years old. She would only see her parents during winter break and during the summer. Beverly is okay with it now, because she is so used to not seeing her parents. Whenever she sees her parents though, they spend almost every day together. However, Beverly is going to attend a university near her parents. In fact, the university is only 20 minutes away from their house. Beverly asked if they wanted her to stay with them. Her parents said that she should live in the dorms to make more friends. Beverly agreed. Even though Beverly lived close to her parents, she barely saw them because she was so busy. She did see them during winter break though. Beverly wanted to study abroad in the summer in Italy. She asked her parents if they were okay with that. Absolutely not. Being alone in a different country is dangerous. Her mom said, but I have been alone for so long. Isn't this why you put me in boarding school to begin with? I know how to be independent. I am responsible and smart enough to go to Italy alone, she said. Honey, the truth is, we just wanted to spend summer with you, her dad said. That is when Beverly realized that, even though her parents wanted her to be independent, they cherished spending time with her a lot. James was always good at painting and drawing. He could paint faces and buildings accurately. He could come up with original artwork, too. He also does abstract art. Abstract art is art that uses shapes, colors, forms, and textures, but does not represent real objects. For example, a red circle painted on a black background is abstract art. However, James knew that art was not the most stable career. James was at community college. His parents wanted him to get an associate degree. James hated community college though. He didn't care about math, science, or English. He just wanted to draw. After one semester, he decided to drop out. His parents were furious. How are you going to make a living? His dad asked. By doing what I am good at, James said. The very next day, James enrolled at his local art college. His dream was to eventually become a book illustrator. James did very well at his art college. He won a lot of art competitions. After he graduated, however, James had trouble finding a job as a book illustrator. There were not that many positions available. After 3 months of not working, James decided to apply to different jobs. He applied to graphic design positions and had better luck there. It paid pretty well, too. He did not want to give up on his dream of becoming a book illustrator, but he was glad he was making money. His parents apologized for not believing in him earlier. Mary is going to a private school that costs $15,000 to attend each year. Mary does not have to pay anything, though, because she has a scholarship. Her parents are very poor. Her mom works as a cashier at 7-Elevens and her dad works as a custodian. Mary has to get a 3.5 GPA every semester to keep her scholarship. Mary pretends that she is rich so she can have friends. Everyone at the school has nice cars and clothes. It can be hard for Mary to keep up. Mary's friend Patricia is throwing a party for her 16th birthday. It was going to be in the ballroom of a hotel. There was going to be hundreds of guests, a chocolate fountain, an ice sculpture, and famous singers. Mary had to wear a beautiful dress, but she knew she could not afford it. Mary, what are you going to wear? Patricia asked. I think I'll wear the dress I wore at your birthday party last year, she said. Patricia started laughing out loud. You're kidding me, right? Patricia said, yeah, I am. Guess you got me. Mary lied. It took Mary over 2 years to pay off the dress she bought last year. Now she had to get a new one. Everyone would be wearing dresses that cost at least $100. Mary could only spend $30 on a dress. She went to a thrift shop. She looked around for hours trying to find something good. Mary finally came across a long, red, and strapless dress. It was originally $300, but now only $20. What a good deal. Mary wore the dress at Patricia's party and everyone complimented her. Linda has been wearing glasses since she was 4 years old. She has never liked them. She thought that glasses made her look too nerdy. She felt ugly in them. People called her Four Eyes when she was little. Not that many 4-year-olds wore glasses. Every year Linda would beg her parents for contact lenses. Every year they just told her that she was not ready. They were afraid that her eyes were going to get infected. However, Linda's parents surprised her by taking her to the optometrist. After testing Linda's vision, the doctor gave her a sample pair to wear. She put the contact lens on one finger and put it near her eye. She was nervous. Don't be scared. It won't hurt you, the doctors said. It took Linda 10 tries to get the contacts inside her eyes. It felt weird and amazing. She could actually see clearly without her glasses. At school, everyone kept asking what happened to her glasses. Linda realized that people knew her for her glasses. They could barely recognize her. She kept getting compliments and loved it. Linda also started wearing makeup since people could see her eyes more easily. She was getting more attention from the popular guys and girls at school. She started hanging out with them. Linda's old friends got mad at her. She apologized and asked the popular kids if her old friends can join them. They said no. Linda decided to leave the popular group. John grew up skinny. Because of this, he was bullied a lot. Bigger guys would push him around and girls would make fun of him for being skinnier than them. John decided to transform himself in college. He took advantage of the free gym at his college and went there every day from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. He lifted light weights at first and then moved on to heavier ones. Every 3 weeks, he increased the weight he lifted by 5 pounds. He also did push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. He also drank protein shakes before he worked out. Protein shakes helped him gain muscle mass. John also changed his diet, too. He started eating foods like beef, eggs, brown rice, and beets. In 6 months, John was no longer skinny. He was muscular and no one bullied him in college. He felt a lot happier, too. He felt more confident about himself and was happier going to class every day. His friends from high school noticed the change and complimented him on his healthier body. John was so inspired by his own body change that he decided to create a program teaching high schoolers how to get stronger. He first taught at his old high school, and then taught at several high schools nearby. Later he made a DVD about how to get stronger. The DVD was sold worldwide. Eventually John went on talk shows and wrote books about his journey. Fishing for compliments means trying to get people to give you compliments. Barbara loved fishing for compliments. She usually says something bad about herself so that people will feel bad about her and give her compliments. She would say something like, "I look so bad in this dress." Her friends would say, "No, you don't. You look great." Barbara has done this so much. One day, one of her friends said, "Barbara, you always say bad things about yourself, and we keep telling you the opposite." After that, Barbara tried to stop fishing for compliments. It was hard to stop though. She felt like the compliments boosted her low self-esteem. Her therapist suggested that she write down a list of things she liked about herself. It was hard. She would write one thing and then cross it out. Her therapist then asked her to write down a list of compliments she received from other people, which was easier. She wrote things like smart and kind. "Do you think these compliments are true?" she asked. "Some of them," Barbara said. "Now, I want you to write down why people would say you're smart or kind," the therapist said. For smart, Barbara wrote that she has straight A's, reads a lot of books for fun, and watches the news. For kind, Barbara wrote that she helps elderly people cross the street, opens the door for people, and volunteers at the homeless shelter. Good job. Now you can see why you are smart and kind, and start to believe it, she said. Barbara agreed. Writing down the reasons helped her. Many famous people we know and love quit college to follow their dreams. Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs are just a few of them. Elizabeth was majoring in communication studies. She was doing well in college, but she had bigger dreams. She wanted to create a clothing line. She has been designing clothes for a long time. She wanted her clothing line to be high quality, but affordable. She told her parents that she wanted to quit college. Her parents were not happy about it. Elizabeth told them about Zuckerberg and Jobs. Her parents said that they were exceptions. They told her that if she quit college, she had to leave the house. Elizabeth thought about it and made the decision to quit college. She lived at her friend's house for a little bit. She worked full-time as a manager at Starbucks, and made enough money to pay her part of the rent and buy food. At night, Elizabeth would sketch designs. After a few months of saving money, Elizabeth opened up a website and posted her clothes online. She started advertising to her friends and cousins. She asked them to share her website to their friends and family. Eventually, Elizabeth was getting order requests. She was getting so many that she was feeling overwhelmed. She promised that the clothes would be shipped out in 2 weeks, but she couldn't make all of the clothes in time. She decided to hire 3 people to help her make the clothes. Jennifer liked to try new things when it came to fashion. She would get made fun of a lot, but she didn't care. One day, she decided to wear checkered pants to school. When she was walking in the hallway, her classmates stared at her and laughed. "Wear some jeans, you freak," someone said. Jennifer ignored them. They were boring and jealous of her confidence, she said to herself. 1 month later, checkered pants were the most fashionable thing around. All the people, from kids to grandparents, were wearing them. It got popular after a famous singer started wearing checkered pants. Jennifer laughed. The people at school must be feeling dumb right now. People apologized to Jennifer. Fashion trends start small and end up getting bigger. Jennifer decided to wear rainbow-striped socks to school. Everyone thought she was weird and made fun of her. Jennifer reminded them about the last trend she set. People said that she was just lucky. 2 weeks later, rainbow socks were in style. They were sold out everywhere. People now realized that Jennifer was a trendsetter. Next week, Jennifer wore a headband. Normally, people would make fun of her, but this time everyone was copying her. Every girl was wearing a headband at her school. Every day people at her school would write down what Jennifer was wearing and copy her. Mary wanted to get a job to save up money for her future. She did not want to keep asking her parents for money. She thought getting a job would be a good way to build her experience. Since she never had a job before, she decided to start with a simple part-time job. There were a lot of options out there. She could be a cashier, a tutor, a waitress, or an usher. She decided that a cashier job would be most suited for her. This was a job that seemed simple enough that she could learn. It would also let her interact with people, which was her favorite thing to do. Mary did not have a car, so she needed to find a job that was close to her home and school. She was still going to school, so she needed to find a job that was flexible. She walked around the restaurants and stores in her neighborhood. Some were hiring, others had all their positions filled up. She applied to 10 different places. Her top choice was her favorite frozen yogurt shop. The application usually asked for a resume, a cover letter, and an application. She was excited to continue with her job search. 2 weeks later, 5 places contacted her for an interview. They were the movie theater, the yogurt shop, a candy shop, a video game store, and a coffee shop. She did not mind any of the jobs. She was happy with all the offers she received. The sky had been gloomy all week. The clouds looked stormy and gray. It suggested a forecast of rain and thunder. The next day it began to rain. It did not just sprinkle, it poured. It was raining extremely hard. Most people stayed indoors to avoid the rain. Those who were outside wore heavy raincoats and carried umbrellas. Outside there were rivers that flowed through the streets. When cars drove by, the water splashed on pedestrians. For those that enjoyed rain, it was nice to finally see the rain. Some children loved to jump in puddles and show off their new rain boots to their friends. However, many did not enjoy the rain. It was difficult for people to go out when it was raining. It was inconvenient for those who had to go to work or school. Driving was also harder in the rain. No one was at the park or at the beach. If they did go out, they would get soaked in the rain. The only thing people could do was stay indoors, whether it is the mall or a museum. Some took this opportunity to stay in at home and watch a movie. Others cooked meals or curled up with a good book. The next day, the rain stopped. The sky cleared up. A beautiful rainbow appeared. The sky was blue, and people started to come out. There were no more umbrellas and raincoats. It was not warm yet, and people still needed sweaters, but most were happy to stay dry. Susan's favorite band was touring. They were having a concert near her house. She was so excited since they had not been on tour for a long time. She knew that tickets would sell out really fast. She stayed up late the night they came out. She wanted to get the tickets before they sold out. She continuously refreshed the page when the time got closer. When the tickets were released, she immediately added them to her cot on the website. She got 3 tickets, 2 for her close friends. Susan was so excited when she got the tickets. She immediately called her friends to tell them. They thanked her for helping them get tickets. She then listened to all their songs again. On the day of the concert, Susan wore her favorite band t-shirt. She got ready with her friends, and they all left together. At the venue, it was extremely crowded. There were a lot of people and security guards. It was a long line to get in. When they got in, they moved their way to the front. They wanted to get a good view of the concert. The lights turned off when the concert was about to begin. When the band came out, everyone screamed in excitement. They played some of their classic hits, but they also played new songs. They had amazing lights and instrumentals also. Susan enjoyed the concert as much as she expected she would. She could not wait for the next tour. People have different routines every morning. There is something we all do before we start each of our days. Linda and Tom are twins, but they do different things every morning. Tom starts his day by turning on his playlist. He plays music to get him excited for the day and to wake him up. He likes to listen to upbeat pop songs that inspire him to begin the day with a good start. He then goes to the bathroom, brushes his teeth, and washes his face. He has his clothes laid out on the chair the night before. After he has combed his hair, he then eats cereal for breakfast. He packs his stuff into his backpack. He makes sure he does not forget anything, especially his phone and wallet. He makes sure that he has all his homework also. Linda starts her morning every day without music. Instead, she sets multiple alarms because it's hard for her to get up. She will then go to the restroom, similar to Tom. She puts her contacts in since she does not wear glasses. After that, she eats breakfast. Linda likes to eat waffles for breakfast. She makes these with a waffle maker. She usually just eats them plain, but sometimes she adds strawberries. She then packs her lunch for school since she does not like the school lunch. She usually makes a sandwich. Sometimes she even makes one for Tom. She changes her clothes last. It was a beautiful sunny day, a perfect day to go out and embrace nature. Sarah wanted to go hiking. She loved all outdoor activities, especially those that required her to be vigorous. She loved rock climbing and rowing. She thought a hike would be perfect for the weather. She decided to bring her dog along so they both could get some exercise. Like Sarah, her dog also loved to exercise. It loved going on runs with her every morning. They would go on their local trail or run at the park. Sarah decided to try a new hiking trail this time. She wanted to go to one near the beach so she could have a beautiful view of the beach. She packed her backpack with all her essentials, a water bottle, a jacket, some snacks, and a hat. She wore her athletic gear and her most comfortable shoes. She brought her camera to take a picture of the view at the top. She was ready for this adventure. When she and her dog got to the hiking trail, Sarah saw all the trees and grass. It was beautiful. She loved it because the path was not just dirt. There were so many plants. There was also a lot of wildlife. The trail had a beautiful view at the top. The breeze she felt was amazing. Her dog also enjoyed it a lot. During the physical education class, the students played a lot of different sports. They played kickball, soccer, basketball, and dodgeball. Whatever sport it was, they always picked teams. The captain was assigned randomly, and then the captains got to pick who was on their team. Michael was not very good at sports. He felt insecure when it came to picking teams. He was almost always the last, or close to the end. Because of this, Michael hated sports. He did not want to try as he knew that he was not good at it. The other kids would make fun of him about how he always got picked last. One day Michael asked his teacher if he could not participate. He was tired of the other kids laughing at him. His teacher told him that sports were not for everyone, but if he wanted to try, he could help him. He gave him other options instead of the typical sports they had. The teacher also decided to do random teams instead so that everyone would have a chance. Michael liked this better. He felt less pressured. He was no longer singled out. This made him want to participate more. He became faster and more skilled in everything. He even began to like the class. He enjoyed it much more when it was less about who was better and more about participating. Michael now played sports even outside the physical education class. John turned 16 a couple of months ago, which meant that he was old enough to get his driving license. He was excited about this because he hated walking. His school was far from home. He had to walk over 30 minutes to school. It was okay on most days, but when it was raining, he hated it. It was also inconvenient when he had to wake up early. John decided to prepare for his driving test. He must pass the written test in order to get his permit. He studied for the test by enrolling in an online course. He spent a few hours reading the manual and learning about the rules of the road. In a few weeks, he was ready for the test. He brought all his documents and took the written test. When he got his results, he was happy to see that he had passed. Now all he had to do was to take the road test. Before he could take the road test, he had to learn how to drive. His parents found a driving teacher that his cousin had used. He was going to meet with him in a week to learn how to drive. When he first got behind the wheel, he was nervous. After a few lessons, he loved driving. John was excited to take the test. He felt confident that he would do well. The next day, he signed up for the driving test. Jennifer and Barbara were best friends. They were extremely close to each other, and had always dreamt of living together. When they both got into the same college, they decided they would live together. Their families were also very close with each other. Their parents approved of this living arrangements. The first step for them was to go apartment hunting. They needed to find a place that suited both of them. It needs to be the right size, location, and cost. They both wanted a place that had enough room in the bedroom for 2 separate beds. They also needed closet space for their many clothes and accessories. Jennifer preferred carpet, but Barbara preferred tiles. Barbara agreed to compromise and have carpet as long as she was able to have her own restroom. The girls also wanted a kitchen since both of them loved to cook. They searched for places online and also attended open houses. They toured many apartments before they were able to decide on one. The apartment they picked was one that was close to their school. It had all the rooms they wanted. It was extremely clean and modern also. Jennifer and Barbara were both excited about their new apartment. Now all they had to do was to apply for the apartment and wait to see if they would get approved. They could not wait. Both of them went home and began to plan how they would decorate their apartment. Ruth was very clumsy and often fell at the worst times possible. Last year she tripped and fell into a tray of food at the cafeteria. Another year she fell in the middle of a lecture, and all the other students looked at her. People knew Ruth was prone to accidents, and she felt super embarrassed when these events happened. She knew that everyone thought she was weird. This year she was determined to be more careful and avoid any accidents. However, she could not keep her resolution. Ruth was walking in the rain, and somehow managed to fall. Her fall not only caused her to slip, it also caused her to crash into a trash can. This trash can knocked down other trash cans, starting a domino effect, which left a trail of trash everywhere next to her. The trash smelled with all the old food that students have thrown away. Instead of laughing at her, many of the students helped her. They helped pick up the trash. They also helped her up and asked if she was okay. She felt so touched by the help she received. She no longer felt embarrassed or pressured. In the past, Ruth always felt embarrassed. She thought that everyone looked down on her. She now learned that no one was judging her. She knew that she should be more careful. However, she was careful for herself, not for other people. She no longer had embarrassing moments, because she no longer felt embarrassed. This year is going to be different. This is what Mark told himself every year. Every year he made the same resolution. He always said that he would start exercising more and eating less. Every year he failed to keep his resolution. However, this year Mark knew it was going to be different because he decided to make changes to his resolution. He learned that he should be more specific in his goal. This way he can be more focused and know exactly where to begin. Losing weight and exercising more were extremely general. Without a guided path, Mark was less likely to reach his resolution. This year he decided to write down that he would run at least 1 mile every day. It was a realistic goal for Mark. He also said that he would eat at least 5 fruits a week. This was also realistic since Mark used to eat 2 fruits per week at most. As the weeks went on, Mark found it easier to keep his resolution. Since he knew what he had to do, it was much easier. In the past he would exercise once in a while, and eat a diet only sometimes. He did not have a plan on what he was going to do. Now he did so well that he increased his goal. He decided to do 2 miles per day and eat 7 fruits per week. He felt great about the change he was making. He felt happier and healthier. He also thought about other things he could do to improve his health. This resolution inspired him to sleep earlier and also drink more water. Maria was an intern at a law firm. Her eventual goal was to become an environmental lawyer. Getting an internship was a great way to learn more and make her resume look better. The internship was unpaid, but she was okay with that. Maria was nervous on her first day. She made sure she looked professional. She wore a white collared shirt, a navy blue blazer, a pencil skirt, and black heels. She put her hair in a ponytail and wore a pearl necklace. Maria entered the law firm and looked around her. Everyone looked so busy and professional. She liked that. Maria went to her boss Susan. Susan has been a lawyer for 20 years and won many of her cases. Susan looked mean, but Maria was ready to make her like her. Maria and Susan shook hands. Susan had a firm grip. First, I want you to get me a cup of coffee. No creamer or sugar, she said. Sure. What would you like me to do next? Maria asked. I'll let you know after you get me my coffee, Susan said. Maria came back with the coffee. Susan took the coffee and drank it. Okay, now I want you to drive to the nearest grocery store and buy my groceries, she said. Maria was shocked. She thought she would be doing more important work. What does this have to do with law? Maria asked. Are you questioning my knowledge of law? Susan asked. Maria immediately froze. She shook her head no. She obeyed her orders and then sent Susan an email saying that she quit. Margaret always liked taking pictures. She believed that a picture can make anything beautiful. She brought her camera everywhere even if she was doing simple tasks like going grocery shopping. Margaret especially liked taking pictures of her friends when they didn't expect it. She liked capturing people's natural reactions. Some of Margaret's friends didn't like it when she did this though. Margaret had a website where she put samples of her photography. There were some pictures of people, some pictures of views, and some pictures of food. She decided to offer her skills for money. People could fill out a form on her website, requesting her to take pictures of them. Her rate was $30 per hour. She wasn't getting that many requests. It made her feel like her work wasn't good. Her friends suggested advertising her website on social media. Once she did that, more requests came in. Day after day, people would request Margaret to take their pictures. In June, there were over 50 requests because people wanted graduation pictures. Margaret had to stop taking requests, though, because she was too busy. Margaret made a lot of money from taking pictures. She used the money to buy a new camera. Dorothy currently works at a local grocery store. She gets a minimum wage, which is $10.50 per hour in California. It is not enough money, especially since she wants to travel to Europe this summer. First, Dorothy tried asking her manager for a raise. He said no because she has only been working for 6 months. Dorothy picked up another job as a tutor. She tutored high school students for $30 per hour. She would go to their house. She taught all subjects. Dorothy had good grades and was smart. Because of this, a lot of parents hired her. They trusted her to help their kids. Dorothy was good at all subjects and had a 4.0 grade average. She also went to a top university. While she was teaching, she realized that she enjoyed teaching. Seeing kids' faces light up when they understood something was amazing. It was great to see how she was actually helping these kids learn. Dorothy decided to quit her job at the grocery store. She started to apply to schools for a teaching credential. She decided that traveling to Europe can wait. Months later, Dorothy found out she got into all of the schools she applied to. She picked a school in San Francisco and loved it. After graduation, she found a job teaching, back at the high school she attended as a teenager. Lisa lived with 4 other girls in one apartment. She was close friends with 3 of them. However, Lisa did not like Nancy. She did not like how Nancy never washed her dishes or cleaned around the apartment. Nancy was just so messy. Lisa tried telling her to be more clean. All Nancy said was, I can do whatever I want. If you don't like my messiness, that's your problem. After this encounter, Lisa tried to avoid talking to her. Lisa would never start a conversation with her. She would only talk to Nancy if she absolutely had to. One day Lisa noticed that her charger was missing. She always plugged her charger by her bed. She checked around her bed, and under it, too. There was nothing but dust. Did Nancy take it? She wasn't that bad, or was she? Lisa didn't want to accuse her, so she just asked, did you happen to see my charger? Oh yes. I used it last night and forgot to give it to you, Nancy said. Nancy handed the charger to Lisa as if nothing was wrong. Lisa glared at Nancy. You can't just take my things without my permission, Lisa said. I didn't think it was a big deal. It's just a charger, Nancy said. Yeah. But it's mine, so you need to ask me first, Lisa said. Okay fine, Nancy said. Nancy never touched Lisa's things ever again. James was known for being clumsy. He would trip all the time, accidentally let go of objects, knock drinks off the table, and stutter over words. One day, James went to the grocery store. He was buying ingredients to make dinner. He went to the sauce aisle. He put the pesto sauce jar in his cart. As he was walking to the meat aisle to look for meatballs, the pesto jar fell through the cracks of the cart and shattered. Everyone in the store looks at James. He turns bright red. An employee nearby told James not to worry about it and cleaned the mess. James picked up a pack of meatballs. He noticed that there was a weird stain on the pack. He tried to pick at it to get rid of it. He picked it so hard that he made a hole in the package. James looked around to see if anyone saw it. Phew. No one was in the aisle. James put the package back with the others and got a new one. Next, James went to the grains aisle. There were so many options. Did he want noodles or pasta? What kind of texture did he want? James spent 20 minutes looking at all the grain types. Sir, we are about to close, an employee said. James apologized and ended up picking the macaroni. James went to the checkout aisle. His total came out to be $10.20. He got out his dollar bills and coins. When he handed the coins to the cashier, he accidentally dropped all of his coins on the floor. Karen was 29 years old. She lived alone. She had a few friends, but didn't feel the need to hang out with them too much. She had a few boyfriends, but no one was worth staying with. She was a nurse at a hospital. She loved her job because she liked taking care of people. Karen's parents visited her one day out of the blue. She started to get worried. Why did they drive all the way here? It was a 6-hour drive. Karen's parents always worried about her. She and her parents sat in the living room. So why are you guys here? Karen asked. Well, we were talking about you and your future. You're 29, but you're not married yet. All your cousins are already married, her mom said. Karen groaned. This wasn't the first time they mentioned it. Every time Karen went to a cousin's wedding, her parents would mention something about Karen being unmarried. Karen was annoyed that her parents wanted her to get married. She was fine being alone. She could support herself. Why don't you try dating my friend's son? He's 35, smart, and kind, her dad said. I don't like being set up, Karen said. He might be really great. Her dad said, I don't need a man. I'll get married when the time is right, Karen said. Aren't you lonely? Her mom asked. No, I'm happy with my job and the life I live, she said. Karen's parents weren't happy with her answer, but they accepted that they couldn't change her mind. John and Betty have been dating for 5 years. They got together at the end of college, but they were friends before. John and Betty were a good couple. They rarely fought, they never got jealous, and they respected each other. They managed to make problems go away. For example, after college, John was planning to go to medical school in Washington. Betty was planning to stay in California. However, they talked it out, and John decided to enroll in a medical school in California. He didn't mind changing his plans for Betty. She was worth it. Right now, John is in residency, which means that he has finished medical school, and is now working under a doctor at a hospital. Betty is an investment banker at Wells Fargo. Betty feels that they have been dating long enough to get married. They have been living together for almost 4 years. They knew each other's habits and were comfortable with each other. Over dinner, Betty brings it up. John sighs. I want to get married at some point, but not now. I am trying to pay off my medical school debt, he said. Why don't we just borrow some money from my parents? They wouldn't mind. Betty said. True, but I would, he said. Let go of your pride, Betty said. We'll get married eventually, don't worry. At the end of the day, marriage doesn't mean that much. As long as we love each other, that's okay, John said. He has a point, she thought. Betty believed that they would be together forever. At Sunflower Middle School, the 8th graders would all go to the amusement park to celebrate the graduation and finally entering high school. Robert's group of friends were all excited to go, but he wasn't. The truth was that Robert was afraid of heights. A lot of the rides at the amusement park were fast and high. Robert didn't want to admit to his friends that he was afraid of heights. They would probably make fun of him and tell him he's not being a man. Robert told his teacher that he had a family trip that day. But Robert, it's a free trip to one of the most popular amusement parks in America. His teacher said. His friend overheard Robert saying he could not go. Robert, you have to go. Don't you want to spend time with us? We're all going to different high schools, Michael said. This was true. Maybe he can just go on the rides that are not roller coasters. Michael decided to go. He did want to see his friends one last time. At the amusement park, his friends wanted to go on the tallest ride first. Robert felt his hands shaking. His friends all got in line. As they got closer to the front of the line, Robert's hands started sweating. When they reached the front, Robert couldn't move. Robert, come on. It's our turn, one of his friends said. I'm too scared. I can't, he said. Just try it. You might like it, his friend said. Robert took a deep breath and went on the ride. He closed his eyes and the roller coaster took off. Robert actually liked it. He loved how the wind felt rushing against him. When they got off the ride, he wanted to go again. Michael is a freshman at UCLA. He is going to live in the dorms. Before then, he lived with his parents. His parents are happy for him, but sad that they won't get to see him as much. Michael has 2 roommates. One of them is his friend from high school. The other one is someone he does not know. Michael didn't bring that many things to the dorm. He knew that the dorms at UCLA are pretty small. When Michael and his parents entered the room, both of his roommates were already in there. Michael. What's up, William exclaimed. Michael and William hugged. They were excited to be continuing their adventures in college. The other roommate David was quietly at his desk. He was already studying. Hi, I'm Michael. He extended his hand to David. David shook his hand and continued studying. Getting an early start, huh? Michael asked. Yeah, I'm trying to get straight A's, David said. Michael assumed that he was very smart. What is your major? Michael asked. Biology. I want to be a doctor, David said. It was now clear to Michael why David was studying so much. After Michael's parents helped him move in, they said their goodbyes. They wouldn't see him until Thanksgiving. Hey, let's go try the dining hall food. I heard it's amazing, William said. Sure. Let's invite David too, even though he'll probably say no, Michael said. The boys asked if David wanted to come along. Yeah, I'm actually pretty hungry, he said. The boys all went to dinner together and all of them got along. Michael had a good feeling about Ukla. Deborah was originally from Nebraska. Her family moved to California because her dad found a great job opportunity there. He would be getting paid much more than he was getting in Nebraska. He was an engineer, and engineers are high in demand in California. Deborah had to move to a new high school though. She missed all her old friends already, but was looking forward to meeting new people. On her first day of school, Deborah introduced herself to the class. The guys in the class started whispering about how pretty she was. Some of the girls nodded in agreement while some of the girls just rolled their eyes in jealousy. After Deborah introduced herself, there was an announcement about homecoming, a tradition welcoming back the students to school. The announcement invited all students to run for homecoming queen and king. Deborah would have run if she was back in Nebraska, but she didn't know anyone in California. At lunchtime, a girl invited Deborah to sit with her and her friends. Hi. You're new. I'm Kimberly. I'm in your homeroom class, she said. Deborah was touched by Kimberly's kindness. You should totally run for homecoming queen. Kimberly said, I would, but nobody knows me. I don't stand a chance, Deborah said. Yes, you do. Everyone is already talking about you and calling you the pretty new girl. Also, the main competitor is Sarah, but all the girls don't want her to win because she won last year, and she's really mean. Deborah decided to run for homecoming queen after Kimberly said this. What's the harm? Deborah is running for homecoming queen at the high school she just transferred to a few days ago. Deborah and Sarah put up posters. The poster had a picture of Deborah with her list of accomplishments and characteristics. Deborah was a pageant contestant a couple of years ago, a 4.0 student, and a volunteer at the animal shelter. Classmates came up to Deborah after school to tell her how great she was. Deborah thanked them. Sarah came up to Deborah after school. Hi, I'm Sarah. Look, I wanted to give you some advice. I think you should drop out of the homecoming race. You're a new student, she said. I know, and I think that this is a great opportunity to get to meet people. I've already met so many people since running for homecoming queen, Deborah said. Don't say I didn't warn you, Sarah said. Deborah wore a long gold dress to homecoming. Her parents were so proud of her and they took a lot of pictures of their daughter. Deborah went to homecoming with Kimberly and some other friends. The homecoming dance was inside the gym. It was decorated nicely. Deborah danced with her friends. A guy asked Deborah to dance, but she said no. Later, the principal came out on the stage. He was going to announce the homecoming queen and king. Your homecoming queen is Deborah, he said. Deborah was happily surprised. People cheered for her and said kind words. Sarah rolled her eyes and left the dance. Deborah went up to the stage and made a speech about taking chances. She was off to a good start at her new school. Everyone at Jefferson High School was reading How to Save a Life, which was a book about a student's journey in medical school. The book got really popular around the United States. It will become a movie sometime in 2021. Some students were ahead of others in the book. Some students were already done with the book. Laura was halfway through with the book. She really liked it and could hardly put it down. She just finished the chapter where the main character falls in love with a patient who is dying of cancer. Laura's friends already finished the book, so she told them not to give any spoilers. Spoilers are parts of the story that reveal important details before a person gets to that part of the story. Spoilers ruin the fun of not knowing. It's like knowing how a movie ends when you are just starting to watch the movie. Laura's friend was about to say something about the book, but Laura stopped her. No spoilers, guys. I want to enjoy this book, she said. Laura was reading the book on the bus. A couple on the bus started talking about the book. Laura started to panic. She put on her headphones and listened to music throughout the entire bus ride. Laura continued reading the book. When she got home, her mom came into her room. That is such a good book. I'm so glad you're reading it. Have you got to the part when the main character is told she also has cancer? Her mom said, Mom, I'm only halfway. Laura exclaimed. Her mom apologized. Laura put the book back in her bookshelf and never touched it again. Technology is such a big part of teenagers' lives. Teenagers are always on social media, uploading pictures, replying to people, and more. Because the use of technology is becoming more and more popular, cyberbullying has become a trend too. Cyberbullying is bullying done online. This includes texting mean things about people, posting private photos of others, and more. One of the many bad things about cyberbullying is that one can be anonymous, which means that no one would know that he or she is the one cyberbullying someone. Michelle was scrolling on Facebook one day. A photo of her face photoshopped onto a fat person was on Facebook. Michelle was shocked. Who made this? She looked at who posted it, and it was someone with the username ChubbyBunny94. She asked her friends if they knew who was behind this. Unfortunately, no one knew. At school, the next day people made fun of her. It was annoying, but Michelle didn't care too much, because she knew she was not fat. During lunchtime, however, it got out of control. A classmate threw a piece of cake at her face and said, "Eat it, fatty." Michelle ran to the bathroom and cried. Michelle's friends told the principal about what happened. The principal made an announcement at every 11th grade classroom saying that if the cyberbully does not confess, he will call the police. A couple of days later, the cyberbully confessed. It was John. He did it because he was mad at Michelle for refusing to help him cheat on a test. John was suspended for 3 days. Michelle feels better. Antonio was known for being cheap. He grew up with poor parents who taught him how to save money. Antonio would do things like stealing toilet paper from public bathrooms, bringing food home from buffets, and ordering the cheapest thing on the menu. His friends sometimes got annoyed with him. His friend Jimmy was having a birthday party. Antonio knew that he had to give him a gift. He didn't want to, but he had to. Antonio tried to think of a good, cheap gift. I could get him a coffee mug, he thought. He went to the dollar store and bought a mug. The mug was white and had the letter J on it. Antonio thought it was a nice gift, and most important, he only had to spend $1 on it. Antonio put the mug in a nice gift bag he got for his own birthday. There was no way he would spend money on a gift bag. Antonio went to Jimmy's house. There were 20 people at the party. Jimmy had 20 gifts. At the end of the day, Jimmy opened up everybody's gifts. Jimmy received some pretty great gifts. Some of the gifts he got include a video game in high demand, gift cards, and a leather jacket. Jimmy finally opened Antonio's gift. Jimmy didn't expect much from Antonio. He reached inside the bag and pulled out the mug. He actually really liked it. He was pleasantly surprised. Then, he noticed the price tag was still there. It said $1. Earl used to be overweight. He managed to lose 15 pounds in 2 years though. He is very proud of himself. One day he went to the county fair where there were a Ferris wheel, roller coasters, games, food, and contests. This was Earl's first time at the county fair. He was with his cousins. They first went on the Ferris wheel. Earl loved it, because he got to see the view from above. Everything and everyone looked so small. Next, Earl and his cousins went to a ring toss booth. Earl was really good at it. He even won the grand prize, a huge stuffed dolphin. He gave it to his youngest cousin. Earl and his cousins walked around. Earl was getting hungry. He saw a cotton candy booth. He was tempted to buy one, but he was doing so good on his diet. There were a lot of good foods, such as corn dog, chili cheese fries, pizza, and fried cookies. There was no healthy food though. Earl and his cousins kept walking around. They noticed a booth for a pie eating contest. Whoever could eat the most pies would win a $50 gift certificate to Pie-O, a popular pie place in the county. Earl's cousins encouraged him to enter the contest. Earl was known for eating fast. Earl said it would be bad for his health, but he entered the contest anyway. He felt like he deserved some pie. Earl ended up winning the competition. He gave the gift certificate to the cousin who motivated him to lose weight. Johnny dated Robin for 3 months, but now he decided to break up with Robin because of his job. He would be working 50 hours a week. He wouldn't have enough time to invest in her. Robin was sad. She didn't want to break up with him. She thought he was not trying hard enough. She thought he should have made time for her. It took a long time for Robin to get over Johnny. He popped in her mind every day. Little things would remind her of him. For example, she saw a pink rose on the ground and she thought of Johnny. It was because Johnny gave her pink roses when she was accepted to dental school. Robin would cry and talk about Johnny to her friends. They felt sorry for her. How could she think about one person so much? Robin said she still had hope that they would get back together. Her friends said that she needed to stop thinking that. They suggested that she delete his number. It took Robin a long time, but she eventually deleted his number. She also deleted him on Facebook. She felt so much better. She was no longer constantly reminded of Johnny. 3 months later, she got a text message from an unknown number, asking her to meet up for coffee. She texted, "Who is this?" Johnny realized that Robin had deleted his phone number. He decided to say, "Wrong number." "I hope you are happy though." Robin thought to herself, "I am. Emily was unemployed. She had been looking for a job for over 6 months now. Everyone was surprised that she still did not have a job. She graduated from a top university with honors. She was likable and did a lot of volunteer work related to environmental awareness. Emily has done many interviews, but it never went right. She knew she was a pretty good interviewee. It's just that the jobs she applied for were really competitive. She was no longer the best like she was in college. She was average. A couple of months later, Emily found a job opening at an environmental law firm. She discovered that her classmate from high school, Chris Smith, was the hiring director. She has not talked to him since the end of high school, but they were good friends during high school. She decided to give him a call. She told him that she majored in environmental science in college and that she was interested in the law assistant position. Chris was upset that she only called him because she was interested in the job. No. I also wanted to hear how you're doing, too, Emily said. Yeah, right. Well, I'm definitely not hiring you, so don't even try, he said. Emily applied anyways. When Chris came across her application, he scoffed. But then he looked at her application and noticed that her resume was very impressive. She did well in school and she did a lot of work in the environmental science field. He decided to hire her. Lillian goes to Irvine. It is a good school, but Lillian does not like it. She does not think it is challenging enough. She is majoring in biology. She also does not like the people there very much. She thinks they are nice, but boring. She would not miss anybody if she were to leave. She also hates the city, which is boring, too. Lillian wants to transfer to a different college. She always wanted to go to Harvard. Her dad graduated from Harvard. Lillian tells her dad that she wants to apply. You know it's really hard to transfer from a college to Harvard, right? He asked. Lillian nods and tells him that she has nothing to lose. Lillian assures him that she will be a strong applicant. I have a 4.0 GPA, great writing skills, great letters of recommendation, and internship experience, she said. Her dad doesn't think she will get in, but gives her money to apply to Harvard. Lillian submits her application. Months later, she gets a letter in the mail. It is a big envelope. She opens it quickly. She's in. She is so happy that she gets to go to Harvard. Her dad is proud of her. He knows now to never doubt Lillian. The first thing Lillian does is to wear her dad's old Harvard sweater. Philip is going to run a marathon, which is about 26 miles. Philip has always been good and fast at running. He knows how to keep a good pace. He is always the fastest one on his track team. In fact, many of his teammates are sure that he is going to run track in college. Philip decided to run a marathon to raise money for charity. The charity was for breast cancer. Philip's mom died of breast cancer, so the cause was important to him. Philip practiced running prior to the marathon. He started off by running 8 miles, then 12, then 20, and finally, 26. He had practiced for 3 months. On the day of the marathon, Philip felt ready. He wore a comfortable tank top and running shorts. He also wore his lucky red socks. Philip went to the marathon. He stood at the starting line and wished the other participants good luck. Philip started running. He felt really good about himself. Running was like a roller coaster, which was full of ups and downs. The beginning was always really good, because he was highly motivated. The middle was harder because he got more tired. During the middle of the marathon, he smelled something bad. He wondered who it came from. He noticed that people who were running past him really quickly. He smelled his armpits. It was him. He had forgot to put deodorant on. Sean never liked his name. People always made fun of him for it. They always said Scene. People would make so many jokes about his name. A lot of them said, "Hey, have you seen Scene?" Sean asked his parents why they gave him that name. They said it sounded nice. Why did you spell it that way though? He asked. His parents said Sean was the usual spelling. Yeah, but people still keep making fun of me, he said. Your name is great. Your classmates are just immature, his mom said. Sean looked into changing names. He always liked the name Brandon. He told his parents that he wanted to change his name. They were hurt that he didn't like his name. They told him that if he wanted to change his name, he would have to pay for it himself. They also told him that they would continue calling him Sean. Sean thought that was okay since they were his parents. Sean filled out the petition and did the necessary steps to change his name. At school, Sean told everyone to call him Brandon. Unfortunately, only the teachers accepted his request. Sean realized that his classmates have known him too long as Sean. It was too hard for them to call him Brandon. Diana wanted to be a model. She went to a lot of casting calls. She wanted to be hired to walk as a runway model. She also wanted to do advertisements, but those were harder to get. Diana had a hard time getting hired because she looked a lot like another model named Amy. Amy was an established model who has done many advertisements, commercials, and fashion shows. She was very famous. People did not want to hire Diana because there was already an Amy. Diana thought she looked different though. She thought her face was more round. She was also skinnier. Diana went to an audition for a Gucci commercial. Gucci is an expensive clothing and accessories brand. At the audition, Diana spotted Amy. In fact, Diana was right after her. There was no way she was going to get hired. After Amy finished her audition, Diana went up to the front. "Wow, didn't you just do your audition?" the casting director asked. "No, that was Amy. I'm Diana," she said. Diana performed her audition. She thought she did a good job. She did all the right poses. She knew she looked great, but she was worried about Amy. A couple of weeks later, Diana got a call from the casting director saying that she was hired. "Just curious, what made you guys want to hire me over Amy?" Diana asked. "We wanted someone new. Amy is everywhere," he said. Diana was so happy. She celebrated by buying herself a necklace. Paula was from Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles has warm weather all year round. People joke that Los Angeles has no seasons. It never snows, even during the winter. The temperature never goes below 0 degrees. People from Los Angeles can't handle cold weather. Paula was very used to the warm weather in Los Angeles. However, she has to move to Minnesota for school. It is very cold in Minnesota, especially during the winter. Paula is worried that she can't handle it. Paula is buying many warm clothing items and accessories to prepare herself. She has bought mittens, boots, rain boots, long coats, and jackets. Her first day in Minnesota was rough. Even though she was wearing 5 layers, she felt extremely cold. A stranger passed by her and said, "You must be from California. How did you know?" she asked. "You're shivering even though you're wearing 5 layers," he said. The man was only wearing a single long-sleeve shirt. Paula's body could not take the cold the first week. She got the cold. She called her parents saying she wanted to move back. They encouraged her to stick with Minnesota. After a couple of weeks, Paula started to get used to the cold weather. She started wearing less clothes and shivering less. That's the great thing about human bodies, they adapt, so we can survive. Movie hopping is seeing multiple movies when you only paid to see one. Many people movie hop. It is very easy to do it. Most of the time you don't get caught. Norma got caught though. She did it a lot. The most movies she ever saw in one day was 7. She saved so much money. Her friends usually did it with her if it was just 2 movies. But if it was over 2 movies, they just left her. They thought 3 movies were too much. Norma went out on a date with Steven, who asked her what she wanted to do. She said she wanted to go to the movie theater. He said okay. They went to see a documentary on whales. After that, Norma suggested seeing another movie. "Okay, let me just pay for it at the front," Steven said. "No need for that. We can just walk into the next one," she said. "Isn't that illegal?" Steven asked. "I mean yes, but everyone does it," she said. "Not me. I think it's wrong. The movie industry loses a lot of money and that affects the employees at the theater, actors and actresses," he said. "Actors and actresses make so much money, they will be fine. Also employees get the same hourly wage, no matter what," Norma said. "I don't think I can date you. We have very different ideals," he said. "I agree," she said. Steven left the movie theater while Norma stayed. She watched 3 more movies that day. Phyllis and her friends graduated about a week ago. They all have different plans. Phyllis is moving to New York for medical school. Tina is staying in Los Angeles and working as a medical assistant. Laurie is traveling in Europe. Ruby is teaching English in China. The 4 girls have been best friends since their first year of college. It was hard for all of them to be away from each other. However, they accepted that they were going to do what would be best for them. Phyllis was more excited than sad. She has always wanted to go to New York. She loved the fast-paced lifestyle, the skyline, and the subway system. She was also looking forward to being around people who have the same goals as she does. Unlike Phyllis, Tina is taking a break from school. She wants to have a year of work experience before going to medical school. She is excited to take it easy. Laurie is excited, too. She was going to travel by herself, and she was okay with that. She plans to visit England, Ireland, Spain, Sweden, Denmark, and more. Ruby is more nervous about moving. She has never been to China before and does not speak Chinese. She is excited for her job though. She loves teaching and seeing students' faces light up when they understand something. Although the 4 of them will be apart, they promise to keep in contact with each other through video chat. They agreed that they will all talk on Fridays at 8 p.m. They also agreed to meet up for big events, such as weddings and holidays. Nicholas's dad died from smoking. His dad had lung cancer. Because of this, Nicholas's mom is against smoking. When Nicholas was little, he promised to never smoke. When he got older, however, his friends encouraged him to try it. Nicholas started smoking when he was 18 years old. At first, he would only smoke once a week. As time went on, he started smoking 5 cigarettes a day. He stopped for a couple of years. However, he continued once he graduated from college. At Nicholas's job, everyone smoked during the break. It was hard not to smoke. If he didn't smoke, he felt like he would not be accepted. This happened to one co-worker. Lawrence did not smoke. Because of this, he didn't go outside with the other co-workers during the break. He missed out on a lot of socializing and conversations about work. Lawrence did not have as many connections as Nicholas. One day, Nicholas's mom visited him at work to surprise him with lunch. When she saw him, she immediately knew he smoked because he smelled. "How could you know your father died from smoking?" she said. Nicholas's mom started crying and his co-workers stopped what they were doing and stared. Nicholas begged his mom to stop crying and promised to never smoke again. Julia was known around school for having the best handwriting. It was unique, clear, and consistent. No matter how fast she wrote, it always looked the same. Her handwriting was almost like a computer font. Marilyn, on the other hand, had very messy handwriting. When people see Marilyn's handwriting, they think that it belongs to a guy. If Marilyn wrote fast, you couldn't even tell what she wrote. Marilyn's boyfriend requested that she write and send him a letter. He lived all the way across the country. Marilyn was embarrassed of her handwriting, and did not want her boyfriend to think less of her. Marilyn asked Julia to write it for her. "I don't think you should lie to him like that. What if he finds out one day?" "He'll think you are a liar," Julia said. "He will never find out. Can you please write it for me?" "Here, I typed out what I want to say," Marilyn said. Julia hesitantly agreed. The next day, Julia gave Marilyn the letter. Marilyn thanked her and shipped it out to her boyfriend. He sent her a letter back saying that he was really impressed with her handwriting. During Christmas, he visited Marilyn at her school. While they were walking in the hallway, he noticed Marilyn's face on the wall. "Hey, it's you," he said. Next to her picture, there was her handwritten essay that received an A+. "This writing doesn't look like yours," he said. Marilyn admitted that she had Julia write the letter. Her boyfriend laughed. "I don't care if you have nice handwriting or not. Just be yourself," he said. Jacqueline lives in an apartment with two of her friends. The landlord does not allow them to have pets. Jacqueline was disappointed by this because she always wanted to have a dog. Her roommate Wanda suggested that they get a fish. A fish would be easy to take care of. They never had to worry about the landlord finding out because there were no video cameras inside their apartment. Jacqueline bought the fish from a pet store. It came in a plastic bag. She put the plastic bag in another bag. That way the landlord would never know even if she watched the security camera that is in the hallway. Jacqueline and Wanda named the fish Coach after the famous handbag brand. Jacqueline and Wanda took very good care of Coach. They fed him properly and cleaned his tank when they needed to. They took a lot of pictures with the fish, too. After a couple of weeks, however, they started to get bored of their fish. A fish is not like a dog. You can't run with it or pet it or dress it up. Neither Jacqueline nor Wanda wanted to take care of it. "It's your turn to feed him," Wanda yelled. "Ugh." "Fine," Jacqueline said. Jacqueline and Wanda made their third roommate take care of the fish while they went on vacation. When they came back, they found Coach dead. They felt bad, but they didn't care that much. Clarence's dad, grandfather, and great-grandfather all had mustaches. They were thick and stood out. Clarence thought that he would have a mustache, too. When his classmates were growing facial hair, Clarence noticed that he wasn't. He told his dad that he was concerned. His dad said not to worry about it and wait a few years. When Clarence was 21, he still did not have any facial hair. His upper lip area was smooth as a baby's bottom. Whenever his friends met his dad, they always joked at the fact that Clarence could not grow a mustache. Clarence felt bad. He felt that he was still a little boy. Clarence told Sean, his cousin, about his concern. Sean laughed. "You should feel good. It is such a hassle to shave every day. My facial hair grows back so fast. You also save a lot of money from not having to buy shaving cream and razors," he said. "That's not funny," Clarence said. "Look, Clarence, we all want things we will never have," Sean said. "What do you want that you don't have?" Clarence asked. "I am jealous of your intelligence. I will never be as smart as you even if I studied twice as much as you," Sean said. Clarence thanked him. He thought about this and was glad that he was intelligent. Sean was right. We all take what we have for granted and think about what we don't have. Alan is 13 years old. He is going through puberty. Puberty is when kids start to become mature and experience many physical and emotional changes. Alan already hit his growth spurt. He was very tall. Now, he was just waiting for his voice to deepen. Before the voice deepens, it will crack. His voice will sound high-pitched. In Alan's English class, his teacher would have students do popcorn reading. Popcorn reading is when one student reads, and then calls on another student to continue reading. Alan was eventually called on. He started to read the sentence. He noticed that his voice came out all high-pitched. It sounded like he had a sore throat. His classmates started laughing at him. "What happened to your voice?" they joked. Alan was so embarrassed. He sunk into his chair and put his jacket hood over his head. After class, the teacher went to Alan to talk to him. The teacher said Alan should not feel embarrassed. Voice cracking happens to everyone. Alan still felt pretty bad about it. For the next few days, word got around about Alan's voice. People kept asking him to talk, but Alan wouldn't. He just stayed quiet. Even when teachers called on him to read, or asked him a question, he just wrote it down. Susan was 5 feet and 10 inches tall. She was the tallest girl in her school. She was taller than a lot of guys, too. Susan did not like that she was so tall. She wished she was of average height. People always stared at her and made comments. She also got a lot of questions about her height. She was tired of the questions. She also did not like how she could not wear heels. She thinks heels are cute, but she cannot wear them, because she would be over 6 feet tall. Ernest asked Susan to the dance. Ernest is 6 feet tall. He was taller than her, so she said yes. A lot of guys avoided asking Susan out because she was taller than them. It does not look good if the guy is shorter than the girl. Susan still could not wear high heels, though, because she would be taller than Ernest. When Susan went shopping with her friends, they shopped for heels and she shopped for flats. A man tapped Susan on the shoulder. "Excuse me, but have you ever thought of modeling?" he asked. Susan shook her head. "You should. You're tall and beautiful. Also, those black heels over there would look great on you," he said. He handed her his business card. Susan's friends encouraged her to call him back. They also encouraged her to buy the heels. Susan bought them and wore them to prom. If Ernest had a problem with her height, then so be it. Adam just graduated from college and will be going to nursing school this upcoming fall. He has a degree in biology. He initially wanted to be a doctor and his parents wanted him to be one, too. Even though being a doctor gets you a lot of money and prestige, it is also very stressful. Adam did not want to be in school that long. Medical school is also very expensive. Getting into medical school is hard, too. When Adam told his parents that he wasn't going to apply to medical school, they were upset. They did not understand why. Adam had a high GPA, a high MCAT score, and great letters of recommendation. Adam explained that his heart was not into it. He knew he would probably get into some medical schools, but it wasn't worth it. He wanted to go to nursing school. He wouldn't have to be in school that long and he liked the work better. When he told his parents this, they said, "Nursing is for women," they said. Adam expected them to say this. A lot of people have told him the same thing. "I get why you would say that, but there are a lot of male nurses these days. They are paid well too, and don't have to work long hours," Adam said. His parents accepted his wishes. They weren't happy about it at first. After his first year of nursing school, however, they saw how happy he was. Louise is a mechanical engineering major. Most mechanical engineering majors are male. There are only a handful of female mechanical engineering majors. Sometimes, Louise would be the only female in her class. It is true that most engineering majors are male, but this does not mean that females cannot be engineering majors. Louise knows that people don't expect her grades to be as high as her male classmates. She also knows that people don't expect her to make as much money as her male classmates. The final exam was coming up and Louise wanted to join a study group. Her, Roy, and Benjamin formed a group. Roy and Benjamin were Louise's friends since their first year of college. Roy asked Michael if he wanted to join their group. They knew that Michael was the smartest guy in the class, if not the entire major. He always got good scores. "Why would I join your group? Don't you guys have like CS?" he said. "Actually, I have a plus," Roy said. "If it isn't an A, it's not good. Besides, I don't want to study with Louise. She's a girl," he said. "I may not be the smartest person in the class, but I'm doing well," Louise said when she heard this. "I doubt it," Michael said. This motivated Louise to study harder. For 2 weeks, she did nothing but study. She even studied while she ate. When it came to the final exam day, she was ready. She thought the test was easy. The professor displayed everyone's score on the whiteboard. He put the initials so people don't know other people's scores. Louise got the highest grade in the class. "Hey Michael, what did you get?" she asked. 98. "You?" he said. 100. She said. Michael gasped. Tammy came from a poor family. Her mom worked as a maid, and her dad worked as a cashier. Neither of her parents went to college. Tammy and her parents shared a room for all of her life. She only had 10 pieces of clothing. The family hardly went out to eat. Tammy was made fun of a lot at school for being poor. She would bring really simple food to school like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or rice and cabbage. However, Tammy was pretty smart. She got accepted by a few colleges. She would be the first in her family to go to college. Tammy was excited for her first day of college. She didn't know what to expect. She knows she wanted to major in sociology, the study of human society. Her parents were proud that she was going to college. However, they were concerned about her future. They were aware that there weren't many jobs for sociology majors. They asked Tammy if she would consider something like accounting or biology. Tammy said she wouldn't be good at it or enjoy it. I know you two want me to make a lot of money, but I would be really happy doing sociology, she said. Her parents said okay. Tammy did very well in college. She was heavily involved on campus and volunteered at an orphanage nearby. She also did well in her classes, too. Her parents were happy that she stuck with sociology. Laurie's parents cared about their daughter very much. Sometimes, it was a little too much. They were very concerned about her love life. They wanted to make sure that she married a man who was able to provide for her. Laurie's parents didn't make a lot of money. Her mom was a saleswoman and her dad was a police officer. They just wanted Laurie to never have to worry about money. Laurie was making a decent amount of money, but it wasn't that much. She was a behavioral therapist. She was making about $45,000 a year. Laurie met an investment banker a few years ago, and they have been dating ever since. He was making $120,000 a year, so her parents approved. He was a nice guy, too. Laurie wasn't sure if she wanted to marry him though. She felt that there was something missing. When Laurie was at the grocery market, she ran into her old friend Thomas. They knew each other back in college and were close. He asked her to catch up over a cup of coffee. She agreed. They went out for coffee, and it was as if no time has passed. She noticed how happy she was with him. She really missed him. He asked her out on a date and she said yes. She broke up with her boyfriend right after. Laurie knew her parents would be upset. Thomas only made $45,000 a year. When Laurie told her parents, they were very sad. Laurie felt a bit guilty, but she knew that Thomas was the one for her. Wayne has a secret he has not told anyone. He recently found out that he had 1 week to live. Nobody, not even his parents, knows. He did not want to see people cry or feel that they have to do something for him. Wayne decided that he would just try to live life to the fullest. He would do things that he always wanted to do. He made a list. The first thing on his list was to go to Japan. Even though buying a flight ticket this last minute was expensive, it didn't matter anymore. He was in Japan for 2 days. He got to see cherry blossom trees, eat great sushi, and hike Mountain Fuji. He went back to the US. He went to Laguna Beach with his friends. They played volleyball, tanned, biked, and more. They also had s'mores and watched the sunset. On the 4th day, he had brunch at a very expensive restaurant with his mom and dad. He was glad he didn't tell them about his secret. If he did, they would be crying instead of enjoying brunch. On the last day, he made sure every hour was amazing. He saw the sun rise at Santa Monica Pier. He had lunch with his best friends. He went hiking with his dog. He ate ice cream for the last time. Finally, he watched the sunset at home. A couple of hours later, the doctor called Wayne's parents about his death. They were totally shocked. Wayne had left a note for them thanking them and explaining why he did not tell them about his secret. Denise, Brian, and Melissa were best friends. Denise and Melissa met each other first. They met at ballet lessons. They both hated it, and they bonded over that. Denise and Melissa met Brian during our class in 9th grade. The three were about to graduate from high school and go to different colleges. Denise was going to Boston University, Melissa was going to New York University, and Brian was going to Harvard. At least they were all going to be on the East Coast. Denise secretly had a crush on Brian. She has liked him for 2 years. She was glad that they were going to be nearby each other. She wanted to tell him, but she didn't know if he liked her, too. She didn't want to ruin their friendship. She admitted to Melissa that she liked Brian. She made Melissa keep it a secret. Melissa said okay. Melissa and Brian met up after school to do homework. They were working on physics. All of a sudden Brian stopped reading. "I have to tell you something," he said. "What is it?" Melissa asked. "I like Denise and I kinda want to tell her," Brian said. "Tell her." Melissa said. "But what if she doesn't feel the same way?" "It'll be awkward," he said. "I shouldn't say this, but she told me she likes you." Melissa said. Brian smiled. Knowing that Denise liked him too made things easier. Brian surprised Denise with flowers and admitted that he liked her. "I do too." "Wow, this is crazy. I just told Melissa yesterday that I like you," she said. "I know, she told me while we were studying," he said. Normally, Denise would be mad if Melissa broke a promise, but this time it was okay. Kathleen was invited to her cousin's wedding. She was the only one out of all her siblings and cousins to not be married. She was not even dating anyone. Kathleen did not want to go to her cousin's wedding because her relatives would ask why she wasn't dating anyone. Kathleen's parents pushed her to go though. Kathleen asked her friend Eugene to go as her date. Can you pretend that we're dating? She asked. He laughed. Okay, but only because you're my best friend, he said. Kathleen brought Eugene to the wedding. He liked that there was an open bar and the food selection was good, too. Kathleen's aunt, Catherine, came up to her. Is this your boyfriend? She asked. Kathleen nodded and said that they have been dating for 6 months. Oh, how nice. What do you do for a living? Catherine asked. I am in dental school actually, he said. Good for you. Catherine said. More relatives came up to Kathleen to ask about Eugene. They were very impressed with them. Kathleen and Eugene even held hands to keep up with the act. It was fun for them to pretend that they were dating. They came up with crazy stories of their time together. They pretended that they met at a casino while gambling. Carol is the secretary of Project Serve, a club at McKinsey High School that gave students the opportunity to volunteer. Under Project Serve, students could volunteer at a hospital, library, orphanage, food drive, beach, and more. There is something for everyone. There are over 100 students in the club. This is probably because it looks good for college applications. Carol feels that she does so much for the club, even more than the president. Carol is the one who talks to all the partner organizations and organizes the volunteering events. This is the president's job. She also takes attendance, organizes all the documents and files, and promotes the club around school. The president, Jessica, is only president because she is popular and knows how to sell herself. Jessica always asks Carol to do all the work. Carol let Jessica do this for almost 6 months. Carol decides to tell Jessica that she feels underappreciated. Hey Jessica, I have been wanting to say this for a long time. I feel underappreciated. I am basically doing my job and your job, Carol says. Okay, then you're fired. You don't have to do either job now, Jessica says. Carol gasps. She did not realize that Jessica had that much power. Since George's daughter Brenda was born, he has videotaped important moments in her life. He has videotapes of Brenda's first walk, talk, day at school and more. Brenda was about to graduate from college. George was definitely recording her graduation. He was even throwing her a surprise graduation party, where he planned on showing the videotapes. After Brenda's graduation, George and his wife told her they had to go back home because they forgot cash. When Brenda opened the door, the guests shouted, "Surprise!" Brenda was so shocked. She was not expecting this. There were decorations everywhere and pictures of her posted on the wall. Her parents also got Brenda her favorite food, spaghetti. They got her favorite type of cake, too. George started playing the tapes. The first one he played was the one of her crawling to the kitchen. The last one George wanted to play was the one of Brenda opening her acceptance letter to Harvard. George had trouble finding the tape. He organized it in chronological order, but couldn't find it. George apologized to Brenda. "It's okay, Dad. As long as I remember it, it's okay," she said. Scott was always curious about what he would be like in the future. Would he be rich and successful? Would he have a family? Would he die at a young age? He told his friends he wanted to see a psychic. They laughed at him and told him that psychics are just trying to take money away from customers who are too dumb to realize that they are being tricked. Scott blushed from embarrassment. Scott didn't care about what they thought. He went to see a psychic nearby. The place was dark and small. There were a lot of pretty pictures of mountains and sunsets. The psychic was a 40-year-old woman who was short and skinny. She wore a light orange dress with elegant jewelry. She had a crystal ball right in front of her. "I'm Sharon. What do you want to find about today?" she asked. "I want to know about my career and family," he said. She rubbed the crystal ball with both of her hands and closed her eyes. "I see money, a lot of money," she said. Scott was happy to hear this. "However, I also see a divorce. You will be happy for a while, but then you will have a big argument about money," she said. Scott's smile turned into a frown. Scott told his parents about what the psychic told him. "Son, you have to just live your life. Don't let her scare you," Scott's dad said. His dad was right.